Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and of course, good evening, wherever you are around the world. I'm happy to introduce an absolute legend. People, we've got legendary status in the building today, under the lens with the king, Kenny Ken. How you doing today, my friend?
I'm really good. I'm really good. I'm looking forward to doing a podcast. Having a season review. But you know what? Time like stopping football.
I know.
Because as we speak, you know, um, I don't know whether I'm a prophet or not. But one thing is, I know people will be very, 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 very disappointed because I think I was one of the first people to say that. Sadly, for a lot of people, not for me, Gyökeres was to come through the door.
Right.
And the reason why I say it from a position of strength is that I just couldn't see it happening. The situation is, most importantly, is that with Gyökeres, I couldn't see any evidence that he was going to fit into our style of play. I just didn't see the evidence. Most importantly, as well, with the situation regarding Sesko. Personal terms were agreed with Sesko last year, without a shadow of doubt.
Yeah.
And it was just a case of him getting assurances about playing time. And if he wasn't going to get the assurance about playing time, then he decided that he wanted to stay an extra year in Germany. And that's exactly what he's done. Stayed an extra year in Germany, got a lot of kind of experience. And now he's ready to come. He feels like he's done his time in Germany. He's had the first team experience, 2 or 3 years. Well, 3 years and 3.5 years. And now he feels he's ready for that big move in the Premiership because he's going to be 22. And a lot of people in football think he's got a higher ceiling than Victor.
Yeah. I listen, and I definitely want to get your insight because you're always someone. Like I said, every time I see you on shows, you're very patient and you kind of let people talk. So I really want this to kind of be about you today, my friend. We're going to get into all of the relevant Arsenal stuff. But what I like to usually do on Under the Lens, because it is about you, absolute legend, is just ask you about your kind of first exposure to the club, maybe a good memory, a bad memory, and let's school some of these people, because let me just say this before you come in, what I mean? People have to have respect. Yeah, we have to have respect for real Arsenal fans that's been there from day dot. People like yourself, people like Matty, DJB, Jez. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, you can't come in and start talking over and disrespecting. So I just wanted to put that out there, right, for a certain individual. However, over to you, legend. Give us your first exposure to the club, maybe some good and a bad memory, please.
Well, first and foremost is that I was born in Islington, so you can't get any more Arsenal than born in Islington. So I was born in Liverpool. Like there used to be a hospital on the Royal Free Hospital in Liverpool Road, and obviously it moved to Holloway Road. But yeah, if you look at it, if you go around Liverpool Road and you go around kind of like it's got all those estates, which is named after, it's the Mersey estate, but I wasn't. And there used to be a Royal Free Hospital, so you come out the back of Upper Street, and as soon as you get in the back of Upper Street, as if you're going to Offord Road, you go straight down, turn on your left, and the hospital used to be there. So I was born Liverpool Road, and so basically at the time, if you lived in the Highbury area, you were born in Liverpool Road. But if you lived further down Finchley Park and Crouch-Hill, then the hospital that you're born in was in Archway, Whittington and Archway.
Yeah.
So by the time, our first house is in Albert Park, just right outside the ground, and then from Albert Park, Crouch-Hill, and then from Crouch-Hill was Andover Estate, which is where all Arsenal. That's where it's proper Arsenal. So Andover Estate is situated between Hornsey Road, Finchley Park. So, for instance, on the back of Andover Estate, you've got Lennox Road, Dunman Road, Moray Road, and that's straight through. You go straight to Finchley Park. Finchley Park, Hornsey Road part of Finchley Park. Sorry, Andover Estate. You had the police station, and it used to lead you towards going to the bottom of Hornsey Road, or on your right towards Hornsey Rise. So it's a case where it was such a massive estate. Whereas so many shortcuts. You know, a lot of pirate stations there as well. But one thing, you know, that you couldn't deny, it was an Arsenal estate. There are a
Mm,
few Spurs fans there.
mm.
I say very few, and the fact that I know how many were there shows you how much of it was an Arsenal state, and he was the odd Liverpool fan. But yeah, and
That's-
the state of Arsenal. If you think about all the sort of Arsenal head boys, you know, big wigs, you know, they're all from Andover State.
Mm.
Yeah.
So you're like right from, you know, almost like the origins. You know what I mean? Yeah.
You think about the old flats around Andover State, most of the Arsenal EIE were from there.
Hmm.
The Herd, they've got origins around Andover State. If you go into Front Hill Road as well, you've got the Duke of Edinburgh. Again,
Good.
a
Yeah.
lot of the Herd are from there.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where you know about Arsenal. My mum was a football fan. You
Mm,
know,
mm.
she loved Arsenal so much that she used to take us when we were kids. And I
Big up
mean, when we were
Moxie.
kids,
Mhm.
because we lived in Albert Park and because it was only tuppence to get in, she used to make sure we go and watch Arsenal play. And she was actually pregnant with both of us when she was watching the team.
Fine.
So
That's
she's the
commitment.
Arsenal, she's the Arsenal fan
Oh,
who got us into the club. And then obviously I fell in love with Arsenal at the age of 8. So
wow.
you think about it, it's been a 45-year journey of, you know,
Wow.
of highs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, seeing us win 5 league championships, going to the Champions League final in 2006, not winning it,
Yeah.
seeing the European Cup Winners' Cup in Copenhagen, you know, seeing a few losses, being part of the FA Cups, you know, seeing most of FA Cups when I was, we had 5 FA Cups by 1979, and then after 1979, when I was 7, the 9 FA Cups we won since then, I've been to most of not all of those games. So
Yeah.
that's Arsenal. Arsenal's just in my blood. I mean, if you
Yeah.
come to my house, I've got shirts all over the place. I've got Arsenal mugs, got Arsenal wallets.
No one can ever.
I've got Arsenal pajamas which are in the wash. Everything. I think if you speak to me or speak to any of my friends, the first thing they'll say to me is Arsenal. That's all
Arsenal.
they say. Is
I
that
know. I
all I
know.
talk about is Arsenal Football Club. You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
I am thoroughly obsessed with that club,
I know.
with the club, and I
I know.
love the club for a lot, and that's why
Absolute
I've got
legend.
high
Yeah.
standards. And it's not just being part of Arsenal Football Club; it's the history of the club that I fall in love with. But
Yeah.
it's not just that; I just love football. For
Yeah.
instance, because I'm from North London, I know a lot about Spurs' history because of
Wow.
the fact that I'm a football addict. So
And
I know about, you know,
both clubs moved to North London. Is
yeah,
that
exactly.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know, like, for instance, I know about the double team of the 1961 Spurs team. I know about every trophy they won. And I've got a lot of friends, very close friends at Tottenham as well. And I've got family of Tottenham.
Mm,
But
mm.
where I'm situated now is that obviously I've done the full circle, moved to Upington, moved out of London. Now I'm back home. And basically, you'll laugh about this. I'm actually on the Islington Haringey border. But
Really?
where I pay my council tax, it's the Haringey. So
Oh,
Crouch End is basically in N8. So if you go Finchley Park, you get the bus W3, bus
yep.
W7, or you can get a bus 91 from Hornsey Road or Caledonia Road,
Yep.
and you get out of Crouch End, and on the border of Crouch End's Hornsey, and arguably there's more Arsenal fans there because it's nearer Arsenal. But if you
Yeah.
check,
Arsenal, you're right. Yeah.
no, but you're wrong. If you check the map, the geographical map, and you go by sort of like the Ordnance Survey,
Mm.
Tottenham is slightly closer by zero 0.5 miles. You believe it?
Yeah,
zero
that's
point 0.5
something that
miles.
no,
Yeah,
yeah.
where I can actually walk from where we are to Arsenal if I wanted to,
Right.
but I can't walk from where I am to Spurs'
It's
ground. But
close.
if you go on the Ordnance Survey,
It's actually closer.
it's actually quite close. But
Wow.
the reason why, if you listen to me, why I always see Spurs as our rivals, it's because of that thing. It's, you know,
Yeah.
going to
Yeah.
being from North London,
Of
you know,
course.
being from Andover State, where obviously there's a lot of people from a lot of members of the herd. I won't name them because they'll
No.
kill me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we all brought up to hate Spurs because we had battles with Spurs. Obviously, we had battles with West Ham as well. You know,
Absolutely.
off the pitch,
Mm.
and off the terraces or on the terraces, Spurs has always been the enemy. I
Mm,
don't understand why a lot of people these days see Man United as the rivals, see Liverpool's rivals or Chelsea's rivals. You know, last week was kind of a litmus test of Arsenal fans' support,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it was, and probably last year as well when Man City played Tottenham. The litmus test for me was who's the true gooner. I couldn't care less that if Spurs beat Man City, that could help Arsenal. I can't back Spurs in anything. And then
anything.
last week, another litmus test was the modern Arsenal fan.
Yeah,
You know, people say it's a dilemma, you know, having Arsenal and Man United in the final. I said, it's not a dilemma for me. Of course I
so
want Man United
2 minute. Yeah, yeah.
because Spurs have always been the enemy. And the
Mm,
reason why I always see Spurs the enemy is that it's not just the North London derbies where when I was younger, sometimes they'll dominate. You know, they'll have the players per national, Hoddle, Ardiles, Villa,
yeah.
Mickey Hazard, Gaza, all
Mm,
those kind of players, and then all of a sudden we we had the players for Nash. Obviously, we started with George Graham and Arsene Wenger, but it was a case of walking down the gauntlet, an away game that that put hairs in my chest,
of course.
gave me ready. You knew that if you're outnumbered, you're taking life in your hands.
Yeah,
But you get that sort of adrenaline when you
yeah,
play Tottenham. I
yeah,
don't get that when I play Man United. I don't get that when I play Chelsea. I've been to those away grounds.
yeah.
I don't get this sort of, oh, can't wait to get out of bed. Don't get me wrong, my favourite away game is Chelsea because of the
Right.
way I'm treated by their fans because they love me for some reason.
You're a legend. That's why, Ken.
But North London derby, but going to a North London derby when we play Spurs is absolutely legendary. You
Yeah,
know, it's like you meet up in Finsbury Park beforehand with your friends. No matter where you are, what part of the country you live in, or what part of London you live in, you meet up in Finsbury Park.
it's
You've got 12 pins or
yeah,
the black.
bowling, 12 pins. Yeah, yeah.
We all make a decision. Do we get the bus 259 to the ground, or do we get the tube? If you get the bus 259, you don't get it all the way there. You think, right, as soon as we get up to South Tottenham, M15, opposite like the Tesco's,
Yeah,
get out
yeah,
of the bus and walk to the ground, or you get out the tube station services and walk to the ground, and you feel the anticipation.
of
You know, you,
course.
you walk down, and I tell you one thing, it's like a cross country route.
Do you know what
Walking
it sounds like, Ken? It sounds like bloody like Green Street or something. You know, like
No, but that's exactly what it was.
how it was. Yeah,
If you think about the old White Hot Lane, the old White Hart Lane's a death trap for away
yeah,
fans, especially Arsenal
yes.
fans.
I didn't go there, Ken. I only ever went to a North London derby at the Emirates, actually.
Well, if you don't know what you're missing, well, you know what you're missing because you think about it. You go to the ground and you don't wear colours. Although I've broke the rules a few times, wore colours, but you don't wear colours. But if you go there, if you're stupid enough to go with the escort, you're basically asking Spurs fans and going, "Yeah, that's an Arsenal fan." So they're
Can't
throwing
believe
stuff at you. You get held back. And 9 out of 10 times, police, because they're so sort of methodical and they're so fearful. Sometimes there's funeral plunders when you miss kickoff
oh,
because they're so they get told beforehand. There's real trouble before the ground
real trouble.
and
Yeah,
before the match. And if you notice as well, a lot of the Spurs fans who haven't got tickets, who are on banning orders, they still come out for a day.
anyway, didn't they?
They're
Of
on
course.
banning orders. They'll wait outside you at the pub. So when you're coming out, if you lose, you get abused, and they start singing in your ear.
Yeah.
If you draw, they it's a death trap. If you win, bloody hell, the amount of times you come out of White Lane, and because you come out the ground and their supporters are waiting on both sides of the street. So one side of the street are waiting for you. So when you come out, you've got to go straight down at the ground, long walk out the way end,
Long
and
walk.
you've got to turn on your right, and you've got to basically walk on the pavement. And they advise you don't walk on the pavement because you walk on the pavement, you and you don't get the escort.
You're
Uh,
gonna get clocked in.
bas- Basically, you're going to get charged. So you're basically told of walking on the roads
Yeah,
that way.
yeah.
That way, I suppose you've got enough time to get away. And then what they do is that the escort will stop at Bruce Grove. And after at Bruce Grove, that's it. You're on your own. And if you miss the escort and you're identified as Arsenal, God help you. So I've missed the escort. And I come out, and this big geezer, he's bigger than me.
Bigger than you, Ken.
I'm taller
Jesus.
than me, but I'm bigger. But he's
Right,
just
right.
so about, I was 6'1". He's at 6'5".
Fucking hell.
He's skinny, but you could
Yeah,
tell that he's but his hands are massive. And
yeah.
there was two prats as well. And I stupidly looked around because you could see my red shirt coming out of my hoodie. So I
Yeah.
looked around, and one guy looked at me, and the other guy went, and then one guy went, "You," the black guy gave me, big black guy gave me the sort of heads up. You keep it moving.
Keep it
So
moving, yeah.
I've thought, right, I'm a long way away from home. So as I'm keeping it moving, one guy was looking, goes, "You're that wanker from Arsenal Fan TV.
Oh,
Come
fucking
on, let's have it." So next to it, I'm
hell.
thinking, what the hell's going on here? And another mate went, "Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal." So
Oh,
I thought,
shit.
right, it's free. And then all of a sudden, people on the road went, "Arsenal, Arsenal, Arsenal." So here's
Oh,
me, I'm thinking, the first time in life, I thought,
10 toes.
just as I was thinking of running, I got surrounded.
Oh, shit.
And it was actually, in the game 2-2 when Harry Kane scores that goal,
Yeah.
and he takes the mask off, and then Alexis Sanchez equalises for us, and Aaron Ramsey scores with that flick that flicked it in for the Welbeck assist. That
Assist.
game 2-2,
2-2.
when we had a player sent off, we had a player sent off. Coquelin got sent off, I think, and yeah, it was that game, and it was like wet as well. And it was one of those things I went, bloody hell. It's a case of like, it was like something out of like Perils of Penelope Pit
Yeah.
Stop.
Yeah.
Them surrounding me getting away, and them running around, and me knowing that I was fitter than them, and thinking, and you'll see these big like that. So I got the nearest bus. I got the bus because the bus diverted, and I said to the bus driver, "Just get me out of here. I'm getting surrounded." So I phoned a mate. "You know what? Get me out. Come in." A friend of mine is a Liverpool fan, but lived in with an Arsenal fan in
Right.
Tottenham. He had to get in the car to come and get me, but yeah, there was so much traffic he couldn't get me. So I got on a bus, and the bus dropped me at Southgate.
Right.
And the bus driver went, "Why are you breathing over?" I said, "Look, you saved me life. I got surrounded by it's
Spurs.
not like I said, I'm an Arsenal fan." It went, "Oh, you're an Arsenal fan? Not Arsenal play Tottenham? Oh, did they try to kill you?" I said, "Yes."
Yes, yes. What a story, man.
Yeah, so yeah, they so that's why. How can any Arsenal fan, knowing that, say that Spurs ain't your rivals?
Ain't
Spurs
your
are our
fault.
rivals because of
Yeah,
stories like that. And
yeah.
I'm not the only one that has stories like that. Jez has got
No,
stories.
I can
How
imagine.
it's gone, Pete Tong for him at an away game.
Of course.
Bless his soul. Claude's got stories as well. How it went, Pete Tong for him. Sorry, this is the beating a bit. How
No,
it
no,
went.
it's me, Ken you this time. No fines for you, mate.
Sorry. So yeah. So basically, it was one of those things where we've all had the experience. We all don't walk the gauntlet. And
Mm,
it's one of those excitement you get when you play Spurs.
yeah.
And then you hear people saying, I hate Man United more than Spurs. And you say, why?
Mm,
Oh, all my friends are Man United fans, they give me stick. I
yeah.
said, what?
What?
Because
Yeah.
of that?
They don't
Or
know. Sorry, go on, mate.
when I was at school, if Arsenal lost, these Man United fans, I was thinking, hang on here. So you went to school in London, and these London Manx are giving you such an hard time, you now think that Man United are rivals, not Tottenham.
Mm,
And they'll say, oh, but Tottenham never gave us competition. I said, it's not to do about Spurs and the competition. Obviously, it's the football,
yeah.
but it's the geography. The fact that Spurs hate us really badly.
Yeah.
The fact that
Yeah.
Arsenal Spurs fans can come to games at Highbury, games at Emirates, wearing their shirts and nothing happens to them. But we can go to their grounds wearing our shirts on match day, and it's on. And
Yeah.
that's part of the derby experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, that is brilliant. And for me, and listen, I'm 41 years of age, Ken, right? So when I first started getting into Arsenal, I was around 10, like 1994. I think we went to a game. I can't even remember. We lost 2-1 at Highbury. I remember coming at the station, turning right, making the famous walk with everyone, being surprised to see the stadium, mixed in with all the houses. And the first time I fell in love with Arsenal in my own right was September 97. We beat Bolton 4-1. Ian Wright broke the record. I was there. God rest my dad, season ticket holders, but we gave it up in 2008. But so I am kind of from that generation where you're absolutely right. You know, even though I know Tottenham are my rivals, and I used to live in Somers Town, so every time Arsenal played Tottenham,
Mm.
I'd used to just look over my balcony and there'd be bottles and bricks going every, like they weren't even nowhere near the stadium. It was by the British Library at this point. Back
Yeah,
a
so
couple,
I know that area well. Yeah,
yeah,
Somerset, you know, like it's on sort of like the Euston, Camden Town area. So
yeah,
yeah, Euston, Camden Town. It's like you could just turn on your left, and you can walk. You can walk basically walk the Tottenham Court Road if you wanted to.
basically, yeah. Or you can go straight up the road towards Angel and all that. So it was
Exactly.
right there. And I don't know why that was a particular place, but every time there was a North London derby, I come outside and it's absolutely mayhem on my road. You don't want to wear your colours, as you were saying. So
Mm.
I know how badly that goes, but I have fallen into the trap a little bit, Ken, of thinking, well, it ain't no competition. This is why we need to listen to OGs like yourself that's got the stories that, you know, I mean, remind us of the days of old where everything could come from. So I know I really respect that. Let me just pick up a couple of people in the chat before we move on. 20 people in the building. Please hit the like for me. Kenny's Instagram is floating across the bottom of the screen. It's also in the title, so you can go over there and catch some of his content over there. Absolute legend. Let me big up Mr. Robbo. Big yourself up, mate. Let me big up True Gooner Josh. He's going to be on Under the Lens very soon. Big yourself up, mate. Big up Mr. Robbo. Said big up Views and the Mafioso. Kenny Ken, like and subscribe, people, or Arsenal will sign Sterling full time, and that's not what we need, is it? So make sure you're liking and subscribing. Big up Mike. Big up Scants. Big up both of you, man. Big up Scants. You're going to be on the channel very soon, my bro. Just a couple more, and then we'll get the legend to give us more. Big up Shane. The legend is in the building. Shane Gooner, I know you guys are all filled up from your full Irish now, but it's time to digest with a legend that is Kenny Ken. So gather around and listen up. Make sure you're subscribing to Shane. Let's get him to 900. Into the boxes in the building. Big yourself up, mate. Bigging up Views and Kenny Ken. Absolute legend. Chinks is in the building. Hope you're well today, my friend. Big yourself up. Joseph Connor, my bro. William Holmes. We've got a question here. I'll ask it actually instead of we'll kind of get rid of the main routine of it. Any other questions for the legend in the building, Kenny? Please put a cube in front of it, and we'll ask him. This one says, if Arteta starts the season badly, will he get sacked? And this is from Football YouTube streamer Clips. What do you reckon, Ken?
Well, he's lucky to be in a job in the first place. I think that after 6 years, any manager that in Europe, you think about it, the average time for a manager in Europe, even the successful ones, is about 4 seasons.
Mm.
He's had about 6 years, and all intents and purposes, he's won a league with obviously he's won the FA Cup with Unai Emery's team, but it's his achievement because of the way he changed tactics and he got players playing for him. So it's his achievement. Since then, we've been way short of winning trophies. And the reason why I say way short winning trophies because we've never been in any finals, been a few semi-finals. And then you think about it from a league perspective as well. He's had everything in his arsenal to succeed. You know, he's had the money to spend, he's had support of the board, he's had complete control of footballing matters.
Yeah.
But every season, we're as far away from winning trophies as we were before. You know, especially in the league. The league was there to be won in 23 and 24, and he found a way to hand it to Man City.
Yeah.
Last season, we didn't even compete.
Mm.
So, in my respect, he shouldn't be in the first place.
Facts.
And as the season starts badly, you know, from a footballing, if you want to be true to our footballing selves, if he's goes really badly and we're about 5th or 6th by December or January, the problem we've got is that if you sack a manager mid-season, only 20% of the time do you turn it around and win a big trophy like the Champions League,
Right.
FA Cup, or anything else. So the question is, do you wait till the end of the season and then say, mate, bugger off, get on your bike? Because how many times have you seen it happening? It's probably only happened maybe a few times. Obviously, with Chelsea, they sacked Vias Bush in 2012. They went on win the Champions League. They sacked that, and then in 2021 they sacked big Frank Lampard and went and won the Champions League. So it can be done, and you can turn it around. So you know, 80% of the time you're thinking, well, you have to bite your tongue and think, right, he's surely going to be sacked,
Yeah.
or you take the risk and think, you know what, he's done a lot of damage, but not enough damage where we can't rescue it. The season, i.e., if we're still in the Champions League, then it gives another manager a chance to turn it around. If we're still in the, obviously, if he's got an FA Cup campaign, it gives another manager enough time to turn it around. But obviously, what we really want is the league.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not going to, no manager's going to turn around the damage. So Arsenal fans need to think what they want. If they want to sort of, if they're worried about league points getting the Champions League, then it may be a risk getting rid of him then. However, you want cups and you want silverware and you feel like the players have hit a wall, then yeah, 100% sack him. Look, I mean, we did that with Emery, didn't we? Sacked him.
We did.
We won the FA Cup.
We did. And look at Ruben Amorim as well. He come in midway through the season. He hasn't been able to spend, and you're kind of seeing what I mean. Even though we did get to a final, let me give him credit for that. But you're kind of seeing the form that they have in the league. And great insight as always, Kenny. There is another question here from Football YouTube streamer Clips. Any AFT secrets you can tell? Well, we're not asking for snitching over there.
What I will say about AFTV is that 90% of the suspicions you have about the channel are accurate. Right. So 90% of the criticism they get from people who are not fans of AFTV, I think that because I've been in amongst them and I've seen what goes on behind the scenes, I think the people who hate AFTV or the people who have suspicions of AFTV, I don't think they realise how close they are to the money. They're really, really close to the money about all the things that they don't like about the channel and all the things they suspect about the channel as well. They're actually very close to the money. Right. But if you look at AFTV now, they don't make any money from their fan cams anymore. That's not where the money is. The money is on watch-alongs. The money is on interviews, on podcasts and sponsored interviews with big names. What AFTV done is now is AFTV is a business. It's not a fan channel no more.
Yeah,
the fan channel obviously it's what they're known for, but AFTV right now is and DR Sports are big sort of like big business. It's got big sponsorship.
Corporate now, yeah,
big sponsorship, big backers, financial backers behind it, and it's got a closer relationship with the football club, and a lot of the reasons why they got a closer relationship with the football club is because they changed the name.
Yeah.
And they were asked to change the name. That's a fact. They'll deny it to the T, but that's just complete rubbish. They were asked to change the name, I know for a fact. And what they've done is that because they've got, let's just be honest let's just be blunt. The characters that are prevalent 10 years ago would not get a job now on that channel, because simple reason is that the new sponsors and the new backers can't have that kind of those kind of characters at the forefront of the channel.
Yeah.
And the backers will want a close relationship with the club. So, for instance, what I mean by close relationship with the club is obviously being allowed to get in the press conferences, being allowed to
go on tour,
have a closer relationship with someone like Edu, and most importantly, being allowed to film on the club's boundaries.
Yeah. Great points.
That's all changed. And 9 out of 10 times, the people that matter in AFTV are back in the club. And
Let
there's a few people.
Go on. Sorry, mate.
There's a couple of people out there that, like, obviously Yardman, but Yardman's few and far between. The majority of people they have on are back in the club, so that's where it's a bit different. But as I said before, majority of them who get gigs there, I think that they're more sort of
Arteta-inners and that, yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think what's happening is that it's a business for them.
So you're right. So they're just playing the game in terms of work.
I don't think even playing the game. I think what's happening is that they'll say they're still normal fans like everyone else, but they're not. Because at the end of the day, it's their full-time job, and they have contracts, and there's clauses in those contracts where there's certain things they can do and they can't do, and they are advised indirectly that being outspoken won't do them any good. And I know that for a fact.
Yeah, yeah, and then it's I think it's pretty obvious, Kenny. For me, I'll just touch on this quickly before I let you come in, because big up William Holmes. He said it perfectly. I could listen to Kenny Ken all day long, so I don't want to do too much talking, but I do want to caveat what you're saying, because for me, Ken, I call it the trifecta of evil. So obviously we got the owners and the manager who kind of don't care about the club as much as much as the fans, or a certain level of the fans. You've obviously got the cult followers that are, support Arteta more than they support the club, in my opinion. And then you've got AFTV. Now, what I'll say about it is when it first come out, and I used to watch the likes of you, Chris Hudson, Mo Hader, even Lee Gunner back in the day, even Troops and DT, that channel was able to make characters. You know why it was so good, Ken? Because we were sick of hearing from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher and people that don't like our club talking on our club. We wanted to hear from real fans, their real feelings. And when AFTV come out, I thought it was a good idea, but then it all changed. And like you said, now they don't make money off the fan cam. So you've got, Robin and all the other interviewers cutting over people. What they done to Yardman, Ken, I thought was an absolute disgrace, right? He's he's a game going fan. He loves the club. He's trying to give out his emotions on the fan cam, and you've got Robbie keep interrupting him. You've got an agenda. Go and have a drink. I thought that was so rude, Ken. Do you know what I mean? Because now we don't need devil's advocate. We want to hear from the fans. If we wanted to hear from Laurie and Robin and anyone else, we go to their fan cam. So what they're doing at the moment, Ken, I think is disgusting, because they're always trying to push that agenda. If anyone's got anything too hard to say, mate, it's like, oh, but what about this? Oh, but what about that? And I think you hit the nail on the head, man. They're just all gone corporate. And for me,
it is. You got to remember one thing, right? It's a career for them. This is their career,
right?
And because of the sponsorship, because of the backers, and because of and I'm just talking about the sponsorship of the show, or the channel, and the backing of the channel. You also they do a lot of live stuff. So a lot of live stuff, there's sponsorships within the live programs.
Right.
So they're getting their adverts from YouTube. They get a sponsorship within the live programs. So what's happening is that these guys are tied to big contracts, and they're very, very well paid because they do their own stuff as well. And what happens is that because of they're getting like patronage by Robbie, that would lead to other stuff they do, little things like go on Lads Bible, get paid for that. Go on 888, get paid for doing a video. Go on other stuff, get paid for doing a video. The shows get the same sort of sponsorship. So, they are probably earning real, proper money salaries.
Yeah.
And they can do that without the fan cams, frames. Obviously, another thing as well is that, you're in a situation now where if you're bad for business, you'll get cancelled. We've seen people get cancelled there.
Yes.
And we've seen one guy, I won't mention his name.
We all know who it is, mate. Yeah.
One guy who was probably equally probably put the channel on the map. And I'm not talking about the one that got sacked, but the other one who got put the channel on the map. Obviously, he left as well, and he came back. He would not succeed in this new AFTV channel. The reason why he won't succeed is because they're now going for a more organic, business-like approach, where they are trying to get rid of certain characters, certain references. He wouldn't last a day there. But in terms of Yardman, he's the only one that calls out the manager. But Yardman and Lyle are still close. They still get on.
Right.
Obviously he doesn't. Yardman ain't going to get sort of gigs that other people get. But there's another guy in there, Nigerian guy called Stricto. He still gets the odd gig here and there, and he's more in for the manager.
Right.
But the fact is that Yardman is probably going to use it to his advantage. He's got his YouTube channel now. He's getting traction on it. What he does on AFTV.
Yeah.
But when you do go on AFTV and you try to set up your own channel, you have to introduce yourself, because I always say if you get 1 million views on AFTV or 100, anything between 100,000 to 1 million views on AFTV, they're not just watching you; they're watching AFTV. But they like what you do. the trick is when you do your own thing, is to get these is to is to see if you still got the same interests. For instance, I go on Lee's channel a lot, and we get good figures.
Hey,
But
listen, sometimes, sorry to interrupt you, sometimes better than AFTV. I've always said, someone like you, mate, if you had a channel, you'd like, you'd
yeah,
be gone.
but that's no guarantee though, because simple reason you've got to remember one thing: if when you look at the channel, that and you love the channel, you're looking at the channel. The name of the channel. So you're looking at any content in that channel. Of course, it's going to do well. The
Mm,
trick is when you get your own channel
mm,
and whether you do your own content, and it's
mm.
hard.
It
And I
is.
see a lot of YouTubers who've got big views on AFTV try to do their own channel. It doesn't work out because they're not patient, and ultimately, people like yourself are watching a fan cam on the channel that you watch all the time. Doesn't
Right,
mean you're watching them.
right, right. Right. No, great point. Absolutely great point. But like I said, I do feel like they are part of the problem, and you're right. Because and I wasn't like that, at the beginning, even when you guys were on there, there was Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, forget AFTV, they're ruining the club." And I didn't think so, just because people were saying Wenger out at the time. But I just felt like it gave people that outlet. But you're absolutely right. Bang on. The journey has changed. Everything has changed over there. It's all corporate. Big up Static though. Big up everyone in the building. It's 25 in here. Please hit the like. Make sure you're going to follow Kenny Ken on Instagram as well. Absolute legend. Static saying views. Kenny, will Arsenal sign enough players to win the league next season?
Well,
Go on.
well, the fact is that if Arsenal want to sign players for the next season, is that they have to generate their own money, and that's
Mm,
got to be through sales. All the money you get in Champions League money and prize money for the Premiership, that goes towards maintenance. That goes towards the players, bonuses. You have to, in this current climate with PSR and FFP, you have to, without a shadow of doubt, make sales. And what Arsenal have done in the last couple of years is that they've made what I call lazy sales. For instance, they sell players and you think, right, they're not so much value in them. Smith
mm,
Rowe wasn't getting a game for the last couple of years.
mm.
But sell him to Fulham, big deal. That's not a sacrifice. He wasn't on big wages anyway, he was at Arsenal. Same with Reece Nelson, you sent out on loan. He ain't on big wages. Eddie Nketiah, 100 grand, still a lot of money, but it's not 200 grand,
Yeah, yeah.
250 grand, is it?
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Right.
that's another kind of like I said, outlay. So all the players we sold, we're not exactly making big inroads. We're not making big sacrifices. Now, the trick is Berta's going to have to go up Mick Arteta, and he said, "Look, we've got a balanced book here.
Mm,
You may want 200 million pounds, but all right, so far we're only going to give you 150. That's not going to be enough. You're going
mm,
to have to sell and get some
mm.
wages off." So, for
And you
instance,
said that early, Ken. You said that very early as well. This is why I wanted to get you on, because I know you've kind of got this insight. Sorry to interrupt you. Carry
that's
on.
right.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So go on. Sorry. Carry on. Carry on.
so for instance, there's a couple of I can think of 3 or 4 first teamers that we've got to sell in
Mm,
order to get the players we need.
mm.
Because people just think, right, Sesko, Zubimendi. No, that's not enough. We still got a left wing we need. We still got a right. We're still going to need a left back,
Yeah.
even though Miles Skelly's in good form and he's been a revelation in that position. However, he's only just got to the ground. Long term, football's about long term just as much as short term. Obviously, because of our lack of trophies, we want right now. But long term, that position will continue to bite us. The
Yeah.
fact our left hand side, in my opinion, has been very costly in the last couple of years. Look,
Yeah.
this season more, 100%
Yeah.
been costly. So you need to look at that. You know, there's got to be a time when we can't keep saying no to Real Madrid for Saliba, so he might have to go. So you may have to get some players there. And
Covered.
then obviously the dead wood you want to get rid of. And so you've got to do that. But the dead wood isn't going to be enough in order to balance the books and get in the money we want. Because as you know, with Arsenal, unlike Chelsea, we don't make big money of our dead wood, if any money. While Chelsea will get a player, loan him out a few times, and then once he gets first team football elsewhere in a Premiership club, they'll
Oh,
go to buy a club,
yeah,
70 million. That's
yeah.
her price, and
They're
they
very,
get it.
very, yeah, very good at selling. We've been very bad at
Mm.
selling historically. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
But yeah, but that's the whole sort of situation regarding our
Yeah,
football club is that we haven't we put players on big contracts, but the players are not good enough. There are clubs interested in them, but clubs can't afford their salaries.
and that's where we jam ourselves up, Ken. Do you know what I mean? That's where we jam ourselves up. Havertz and Gabriel James, and I call him Gabriel James. Jesus, obviously you might
Yeah.
not know what I call some of these players, but no, you're absolutely right.
You know what? Sorry, cut in.
Go on, mate.
Havertz is an interesting one because Havertz is seen by a lot of people as tactically important, or or tactically essential. You want to do that, but when you look at Havertz and you think, right, I want that striker,
Mm,
and you think, oh no, what are we going to do with Kai Havertz? I want that number 8, midfielder number 8. What are we going to do with Kai
Havertz.
Havertz?
Yeah.
Because in essence, he can operate in both those positions. He can operate in
Mm,
midfield, and he
mm.
can operate up top. But the fact is that for a player that's seen as a generational player, he hasn't done it for us, and
Yes.
that's facts. It's not being churlish.
No.
And then you hear rumours. Oh yeah, Kai Havertz is still going to be the first choice. Yet we're spending about 70 or 80 million pound on what we call a striker. Yet Kai Havertz is first choice.
It makes no sense. I mean, I am going to get into this with you, Kenny, because I did want to ask you about the state of the club and kind of I wanted to kind of get your insight. So the 20-odd people in here, I want you to gather around and really take it in because this is a legend of the club. Big up William Holmes. He said Ange won a major European trophy in his second year and Slot in his first year. Success is measured by trophies, not excuses. 100% agree. Big up Ismi Everest. Glad to have you in here today. Big up to Kenny Ken the Go. Absolutely, man. This is a big pleasure for me to have Kenny Ken on. Just give me 1 second. Big up views and chat, like and subscribe. Yep, I love watching Kenny whenever he's a guest in. That's what I'm saying. We have to try and bring you the legends of the club here, people. We are trying. Big up E-Ross, Mama Maybach music. Sorry, I haven't got the little sound effect like BBK, but I hope you're well today, my bro, my American people joining us. Static and football are having a little bit of a convo, so I'll leave that alone. Just give me 1 second, Ken. Facts. Thanks for reading my questions. No problem, bro. If anyone else has got questions, just put a cue, by it, and we'll try and get through before we come to a close. Big up, Mr. Battered. I hope I said that right. I see you around, my bro, but I can't say your name. He said, big up views and Kenny Ken, or should I say Kenny Nostradamus? Come on, mate. Kenny told everyone from day dot Arsenal will end up signing Benjamin Sesko, and we are going to get into that. Just give me a moment. Big up Wahaba. I hope I've said your name right. So do spicier fan cams never get published on AFTV? Well, just to touch on that quickly, obviously, if you're like lead judges and you're a bit passionate and something might have just slipped out that isn't really too bad, they will edit the video and re-upload it. Things like
Only rarely. The thing with AFTV and the attraction for AFTV, and why a lot of people wanted to get on an AFTV, and because the fact is that whatever you say about AFTV, and whatever you say about about if you're critical of Lee as well, what you say gets filmed. So if you're there for 10 minutes, you get the whole 10 minutes, you get the whole 5 minutes, whole 3 minutes, and that's one of the things that you can never take away from AFTV. You get the full package. Not I haven't known. There's one guy who did an interview, and he looks a bit bizarre, and they played an awful joke on him. Where they said, yeah, they did the interview and they deleted it because they thought, no, the guy's just too weird. That's the only thing that's ever happened. But apart from that, nothing ever gets cut. The swearing doesn't get cut at all.
no.
However, unfortunately, the one time it did happen was two interviews. Obviously, one with obviously DT that
Yep,
got removed
yep.
because of the revelations. A week later,
Yep,
obviously from the
yep,
government's website, and then obviously the situation where they had to cut out certain things, which Lee said after the Everton game. That's
yep.
the only time it happens. If AFTV, right, was one of those channels where say if we're outside the Emirates and BBC London came up to us and they interviewed us and they spoke to us for 5 minutes, you
Mhm.
know that could either get on the cutting room floor or 5 seconds of
Right,
us speaking on there.
right,
The reason why a lot of people want to go on ATV because they know that Robbie and Cecil G will f- film everything they say verbatim, and then it's on them. If they want to say something controversial, stupid, that's up to them.
right.
They live with it. But if they want to say something constructive, then it's always going to be on there, and that's one of the reasons why a lot of football fans love being interviewed by proper modern YouTube channels,
Right.
YouTube channels, because everything they say is on there. There's nothing on the cutting room floor. There's nothing that that gets cut out. Like for instance, obviously, if Sky Sports came up to me and said, "You know what? Do you want to do an interview?" I said, "No, I don't want to." Not because I don't like Sky Sports, because I know that 9 out of
Perfect.
10 times I'll be wasting my time because
Yeah.
they won't film with they won't put out there everything I say, and most importantly, they will. I could end up cutting the floor. That's why I was really shocked when
Mm,
Premier League stories. This is actually not done by Sky. It's done by the Premier League.
right.
I came out of the Ipswich game and I just saw Eduardo. Eduardo, who played for us and broke his leg off
Yeah,
sadly.
yeah.
So I went up to him and he was getting filmed, and I didn't care about his getting filmed. I just saw a player that I liked. So we started chatting. Next minute, I heard beep beep beep, and then the camera was in their face. I thought, oh, this isn't going to go to air.
Yeah.
So we were chatting, talking about the goals, his goal against Man City. We talked about the injury. I told him how much that he was a natural finish at the football club and how
Mm,
much I enjoyed watching him play.
mm.
For some reason, I got a call from my brother and you're on Premier League Stories because that was filmed the end of December, and then it got shown middle of March. And my
What?
brother was on Premier League Stories, and then next minute, someone else phoned me and said, "You're on Premier League Stories." And believe it
Oh,
or not, everything that was on there was for that 2 minutes.
they never cut anything.
They didn't cut anything. I was
Mm,
shocked because
brilliant.
it showed me going up to him. It showed us chatting. It showed us, well, we're trying to reparate the goal. He does sort of like he gets the ball in his chest and he volleys it
But yeah,
past so hard at the Etihad Stadium 2007, 2008, and we were recreating a goal, and I couldn't believe it.
I couldn't believe it. What a moment, man. Absolute
And
star.
and it's not a case of like them asking me name. It was just a passerby.
Of
Just,
course.
just you think about it. It was an hour. It was on for about an hour, right? The whole program was on for about an hour, and they obviously talked about the time when he left Brazil to go to Croatia. They showed up. They talked about him playing for Dinamo Zagreb, playing
I
for
did.
Croatia, getting
What
to Arsenal, and
a
then here's me. My whole 2 minutes of interacting with Edu was on there.
Oh, that's brilliant. You know what that reminds me of, like me coming up to you. So, you know what I mean? Like I was
Yeah,
telling you off stage, you know what I mean? So the moment you see him, you're just like, oh look, like bang, the fan
yeah.
kicks in and you just that is what a brilliant moment that is, man.
Yeah, it's like
Um
I thought it was like a brilliant moment, but I thought nothing of it.
yeah, yeah,
I didn't realise it was Premier League Stories. They didn't tell me what. It was just some guy with a Lancastrian accent shook me hand and said, "Yeah, we speak you." And he said, "Thanks for that." And he was really pleased to see you. He never told me that he actually worked for the Premier League
Premier
Productions.
League, yeah, yeah. No,
Yeah,
that's wicked, man. They caught it naturally, and what a memory as well, because he was a that leg
mm,
break. I think he could have been one of our best ever strikers, honestly. Like, with how he was playing at the time. Let me just big up Terence Knowles. Big yourself up, bro. He said, as a West Ham supporter, let's be honest, you're not gaining money by what you win. Sodal, you're a business, and Arteta is paid to earn owners' money of genuine supporters. You're absolutely right. And Terence, I'm pretty sure you're Aaron's dad. So big yourself up. I hope you're all well. Big up Aaron as well. Thank you for passing through. I'm pretty sure. So big
mm.
yourself up. Thank you for your comment. We got an absolute legend in the building today. But you are right, Terence. Do you know what I mean? It is a business, but I think all modern fans need to realize it is a business, but it's hard because I mean, I'm 41. I'm still from the, from the era where I want to see my team do something. I've seen us do doubles. I've seen us go invincible. So it is hard. It is hard to kind of catch that balance. But you're absolutely right, mate. Big up Godfrey saying big up Views and Kenny, absolute legend. Come on, man. We know this already. Let me just see if there's any more questions quickly. They're paid by the club. 20 likes. Big up Static. Lennox, I don't think I've seen you around here before. Big yourself up. He said, "Where's Julia, the little mole?" I don't know what's been going.
I can answer that. I met Julian.
Oh, that's who he's talking about, right?
Julian, right, is a lovely. I've met Julian loads of times. Because the first time I actually met Julian is that I was coming back from Crystal Palace away, and I was, when you get through Finsbury Park Station, and you go, because I had a property in Barnet by that time, so I was going to New Barnet, and I just looked at him and he went, Julian came out, he goes, "Oh, you're Kenny, good, nice to meet you." So we had a great conversation,
Right.
and I got a lot of time for the bloke, and actually Julian was with me on the way to a game when I got talking to people who worked at Arsenal, and they were giving away club secrets about incidents behind the scenes. And Julian heard that. So me and Julian go back quite a long way. I'll say go back a long way. I'll say 3 years.
Right.
But I've got a lot of time for him.
Yeah.
And I can say that Julian is very valuable to the show. He's like I said, he's very close to Mr. Lyle, and he's given Mr. Lyle a lot of support and advice. And the situation is that I ain't gonna lie. That is a very, very hot topic, because at the end of the day, there's no winners here.
No.
From a business point of view, there's no winners. And obviously, if you look at AFTV and DR Sports, a lot of their viewers are young urban fans who and if you're looking around the London area, around this country, or around the world, young urban fans happen 9 out of 10 times they're black, they're young, and they're and most of them are from Islam. They're Muslims. So you think about it, your audience is urban, young, Muslim, and black. But from a business point of view as well, you've got a lot of benefactors, and you've got a lot of people behind the scenes. From a business point of view as well, and obviously, if you look at the governments across this country, obviously, it's a hard one. So it's a double-edged sword. There's no winners.
Yeah. No, yeah, absolutely.
There are no winners, because at the end of the day, Julian is been a good stalwart of AFTV. He's been very supportive, and he's given some good advice, business advice behind the scenes. So, and he is an asset, and he is exactly what what the channel's now about. So you're torn between someone who's very supportive. You're torn about someone who the sponsors love, who the benefactors love. But he's giving advice from a business and footballing point of view, and then you've got your viewers who are young, urban, mostly black.
Yeah, and just saw it.
You've got fans from all across the world, like from the African countries, the West Indies, and a huge, percentage of those fans are Muslims.
Of course.
Like the faith of Islam. So there's no winners.
No.
What do you do?
Yeah, do you know what I mean? What do you do exactly? And the way I saw it, right, as I saw it from everyone's point of view, like, because a lot of people were jumping on Julian, but obviously he's going up to Robbie, so this is obviously Robbie's views, or because it's like you said, it's a business, they're not trying to mix politics with business, which I totally understand. I totally understand that. So I don't just blame Julian for that. Do you know what I mean? Saeed, obviously,
the fact is that if you got to remember, Julian, Jewish.
Yeah.
The situation, what's going on in Palestine and Israel, and obviously support from Palestine, particularly from obviously people from the Islam community are going to support Palestine,
of course. Yeah.
and they should.
Hmm.
It's Saeed's show. He should wear whatever he wants on his show and his channel. He's got a right to it. Just as it's normal and
Yeah.
acceptable for Julian, who's Jewish, to see situate the Palestine badge or any reference to Palestine as a red ball,
Yeah.
as as like a ball,
Seeing
a
red
red flag
stuff.
to a ball. And
Yeah.
the reason why is because obviously, both of them are brought up in one of the most important religions in the world. Obviously, you got Christianity, you got Judaism, and you
Yeah.
got Islam.
Yeah.
And
Islam. Mm.
whether we like it or not, religion is the cause of most wars.
Yeah. Massive. Massive. No, absolutely, man. Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't have said it more eloquently myself. Static saying views the last home game of the season when Arsenal won against Newcastle. Yardman fan cam. Some idiot stole his cap at the end of the interview. I think I saw that. And they were all jeering him. This is what I don't like as well. But anyway, that's a bit
Yeah,
here.
they're cheering them because the simple reason is that it's one of those things where in every channel or in every show you have to have a bad guy. It's the same in sport. In boxing, you've got to have a bad guy. Wrestling, you've got to have a bad guy. People probably see people like me, Lee, Jez, Aaron, DJB, Darren Sullivan,
Legends.
all these Matty. We're the bad guys. We're the black sheep of the Arsenal fan base because of our views of Mikel.
Hmm. Hmm. I'm in there as well, Ken. I'm in there as well. I get it all the time. Go and support Tottenham, all this other crap. It's like, well, obviously that's only become a little bit relevant now where they've won something. But before, it's like, why would I do that? If I want my team to crack on, why would I then go and? But anyway, here nor there. Big up William Holmes. He said Arteta will do the bare minimum to make top four. The only thing the Cronkies care about is profit margins. We'll watch our rivals get stronger this summer. I believe so. Static is big up. Static is saying views Kenny the sell for ESR, and then Nketiah was Arsenal's best business in a long time. It's embarrassing. Yeah, because Kenny was obviously pointing to the fact of sales, and we're not very good at it. Big up Mike. Why give out 5-year contracts? I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure there, bro. Static says 2 Tavares, of course, is already gone to Lazio permanently. Well, that's good. And Marquinhos as well. Big up Boston in the house. He's bigging up Kenny Ken. Static is saying, Kenny, what do you think of that bizarre 8-year contract for your hated player Fabregas? Is he trying to?
Look, at the end of the day, it's good business. Well, that thing with says Fabregas, I stand on that hill regardless of Fabregas. I'll just give a short reason why I do not dislike the man.
Mm-hmm.
It's personal because at the end of the day, anyone who treats the club like a used towel, I've got a problem with you. Don't care who you are. If you treat my club with a used towel, and you know what used towels, 9 times they're wet, they're sweaty, and they're dirty.
Yeah.
And you can fire them, you chuck them on the floor. I've got a problem with that. The fact is, Francesc Fabregas, last game of the season in 2011, Francesc Fabregas, instead of joining his teammates and supporting his teammates against Fulham away, decided to be at Spanish Grand Prix. First bit of disrespect. Second one was Francesc Fabregas refusing to join the Team Fighto, refusing to return for pre-season, refusing to go on tour for pre-season, refusing to train for pre-season until he got his own way and got what he wanted. At least Nasri, right, who was forced to move to Man City, at least he turned up for pre-season, at least he joined the team photo, and at least he made a couple of games before he went to Man City, before the transfer deadline. Yet he's hated more than Cesc. Make that make sense? And then you've got the other one where Francesc Fabregas is, again, blaming the club for his decision, for his preference of Chelsea over Arsenal. Jose Mourinho, right, went to Barcelona and personally tapped Cesc Fabregas up. Now, and Cesc Fabregas agreed to go to Chelsea, which he should have done anyway, because Chelsea finished third that season. You know,
correct, yeah.
in Jose Mourinho's first season back, we knew that in the second season that they were ready to win the championship.
Mm,
They were
mm,
ready to win the championship, which they went and duly done. They
mhm,
won the League Cup as well, beating Tottenham in the final. So he
mhm.
made the right decision for football reasons. Got
Yep.
no problem with that. But when you go and say, "Oh, I joined Chelsea because Arsenal didn't take up the option," it's a lot of rubbish. It's a
Lying.
lie.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah.
And I'm not I'm not having players who treat my club like a used towel. I don't care who you are. For
No.
instance, I've got something controversial to say. You ain't gonna like this.
Go on, mate.
The player who the player who you think used the club like a used towel was actually didn't use the club like a used towel. The club threw him out. Yet you guys, not so as you, but I'm just
Mm.
saying most Arsenal fans hate the guy with passion.
You talk about no, Ashley Cole.
No. Uh, he's one of them. And then you've got a player who everyone loves, who everyone says we haven't replaced as a striker, but he
Now,
used the club as a used towel. He was trying to engineer a move to Chelsea a few a few few months before we beat them in lockdown final.
right.
He is loved by the club.
Mm.
He was one of the players who Dan tools in the Europa League final against Chelsea, and he obviously left the club in dubious circumstances. Yeah,
Oh,
you love him,
mm.
but he used the club like a used towel. But because on the surface he kissed a badge and he scored loads of goals for us.
He did.
Love him, but the player that didn't use the club like a used towel scored loads of goals for us, but was told by the club if you don't jog on, you're going to play. I'm going to chuck you in the reserves. You hate him because he celebrated in front of you because you slagged off his
Yeah, 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 and yeah,
he used the club like a used towel.
yeah.
Fez Fabregas used the clubs like a used towel.
Good.
Naturally, he left the right way, even though he used the club partly as a used towel, but
Yeah,
he left respectfully
yeah.
because he did play a few games for us. And
Mm.
you've got a player that tried to engineer to move to Chelsea. You lot love him. Make it make sense.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
I'm
No,
talking about the player that tried to engineer a move for Chelsea. You know I'm talking about. And I'll go as far as saying that Adi Bayor and Nicolas Nelka are levels above him. And you know I'm talking about.
Big hey, listen, great insight as always, man, from the legend that is Kenny. Big up, it's me, Everest. He said the question, Kenny, is it true that some people are getting onto AFTV interviews by paying their ways in?
No one gets paid to go to
Right.
go. No one gets paid anything. What they do is that they will go up to people behind the scenes by email or tap Robbie up before the end of the match and will say, "Oh, can I have an interview? I've come all the way from Australia. I've come all the way from Singapore. I've come all the way from India. I've come all the way from Nigeria. I've come all the way from Nova Scotia. I've come all the way from Nova Scotia, Canada. I've
Yeah.
come all the way from Greenland. Can I have an interview?" And 9 out of 10 times we'll give me an interview, but they're not paid to go on.
No. And yeah.
But they're contacting them in advance. It's a good story, isn't it?
It is, yeah, it's a good story. It's a good story.
Isn't it? You come all the way from like Nova Scotia. You come all the way from Nova Scotia. You let me know in advance. Let him know in advance. You get an interview.
An interview, yeah. No, great fit. But let's we don't want to try and ask too much stuff on AFTV because we don't want to put Kenny in any kind of positions here.
I'm not in no position. I've got no loyalty to the channel.
Well, I just try, what I mean.
Let's just say I'm not their favourite person.
Hey.
So
you're one of our favourite people over on this side.
I'll let you into a very well-known secret, open secret. If we're not friends no more, I don't see where the loyalty comes into it.
Fair play. Hold on. Fair play, mate. Kenny is dropping gems today, people. Big up Ross. Said it's all good, bro. Good to see you both and everyone in the chat every time. Kenny, really enjoy your football knowledge, and that's what I'm saying. We got. There's a legend in the building today, people. Big up BBK. He said the legendary Kenny. This is what I'm telling you, mate. Make sure you subscribe to BBK as well. Big up Terrence again. He said, gentlemen, you are true supporters. That's why business Arsenal doesn't listen to you. Yeah, money over silverware. Let's hope your voice is heard. Don't toe the line. Facts,
Well,
mate.
you know what Terence has said is so right. And what's happening now is that our voices are being heard because people were openly questioning the manager. 20n We actually didn't slag off the manager. He
No.
praised him, but he asked a question which wasn't, about us not winning trophies. The questions that weren't allowed to be asked last season. You know, Gary Neville is now brave enough to ask these questions. Paul Merson doesn't care anyway.
Nah.
Because of his background in counselling, his background in meetings
Hmm.
for obviously various addictions.
Yeah.
He's going to say as it is. Mania Petit says it is, and I know there are fans now phoning the mainline stations to lend a voice
Mm.
to ask these questions, and some of them are asking for the manager to be replaced. So it's one of the things where you can't put a sticky tape over like like I said, the leaking tap. The leaking tap is Arsenal Football Club. The leaking tap is our views on Arteta. There's a lot of people who have vested interest in the football club,
Mm.
i.e. fans who are
Mm.
now journalists who get to interview Mikel, who, in essence, because they get to interview Mikel, they are indirectly told by the club, this is what goes on in the club. We've shown you what we're doing. We're showing that Mikel Arteta is working really hard. We're showing that we're trying to save players. We've told you that we're trying to sign players. Now go and tell the public. Basically, what they're saying is be the voice of the fans. So what
Mm.
they do is that they get in there first. Even after we lost the first leg, by the time the second leg was upon us, and we upon us, what did they do after the Bournemouth game? They went on the attack.
Mm.
They went on the attack because they anticipated that if we lost the second leg, which we duly did, there's going to be another sort of
Backlash.
like barrage of questions and barrage of calls for Mikel to be replaced. So they got in there first, and
Mm.
then on the eve of the Newcastle game, on the eve of Spurs and Man City against the European League final, they had that Union Chapel conference where Arteta was a surprise guest, again telling us what a great job he's doing, tell everyone the football club what they do. They went in the attack. They basically preempted the fact that there will be criticism.
Yeah.
And what did they do before the Spurs game? The Spurs Europa League final, Man United. They went down the bollocks of it's probably which is the more evil. But they started deriding the trophy and they're saying, "Oh,
Mm.
it's crap. We weren't in it. It's not relevant to us," because they knew that we would have said Spurs won a trophy. We rightly got upset, which we did get upset,
You
and we
did.
have said, right, we're turning it back on the manager.
Mhm.
And they didn't want us to say that Spurs had a better season than us, which they did.
They did. They did. Absolutely. Absolutely. Kenny Ken just spitting facts as always and very astute. And this is why I wanted you on, because you and Matty, do you know what I mean? You kind of see things from angles that not every fan does. Big up Static. He's said a question. Kenny, did Carl Walsh gonna tell you that he got interviewed by Robbie on AFTV? They were talking about Ozil and the channel deleted his fan cam interview several years ago.
See that surprises me because that's not what AFTV was about, and they've basically sold out by doing that. Because again, the attraction of AFTV and for fans was for if you gave fans the opportunity to speak, you always put it on camera,
Mhm.
and then you leave it up to the viewers to
Yeah.
make their comments, to criticise Kyle or agree with Kyle.
Mm.
For you to delete it, it's just pathetic. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, we could do it. We could do 2 shows of my things and Mesut Ozil, and you still want a third show because again, he's another player that I have my suspicions about. In fact, a lot of the players that we praised under the Wenger era,
Mhm.
especially when it comes towards the end of the day, they didn't win us anything significant. And as far as I'm concerned, a lot of them are just big fishes in small ponds. And we
Yeah.
became a small pond.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great point because you're right, and we only got those players, because of circumstances and the old domino effect. Big up Damien D'Amico. I hope I've said your name right. Arsenal would have earned more money in prize money than pretty much every single
Yeah,
team in the world.
without a shadow of a doubt. And
Yeah,
I can even second it, Damien, by saying over the last 3 years, Arsenal have amassed more points, well, more points probably than any Premiership team over the last 3 or 4 years. However, Pochettino's Tottenham that amassed more Premiership points in August 2015 up until probably like January or February 2018. That Tottenham side didn't win the league. We haven't won the league.
we ain't
And
won it.
everyone knows in terms of prize money, 9 out of 10 times, prize money goes at the club. Not all of it goes on players. If not, in fact, very little of it goes on players. A lot of it will go basically back on sort of like costs towards stadium costs. It
Mm,
will go. It
mm,
will go on to player salaries because at the end of the day, whatever you get in football goes on the players.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, the reason I don't know how football operates, where most of the money you earn, say 80% of the money you earn, goes in players' pockets these days. Where before it never did, but
mm,
with this, so when I look at all the prize money we get for participation in the Champions League and participation in the league, there's things called like you know, there's things like players bonuses, bonuses for getting the Champions League.
even
Just
staff bonuses can, yeah.
if if a team falls out of Champions League, then obviously the players got to take a wage cut. That's
Hmm.
factual.
Hmm. Hmm.
People might lose their jobs. Let's not forget our season tickets get reduced if we're not in the Champions League. So all this prize money we get doesn't actually go towards player spending money to players. It goes to the players. It goes towards paying off any sort of like club debt.
Great point. Great point. Yeah, no. Again, that's what I'm saying. So astute as always, man. So, and you're
It's
right.
Damon Domi,
Um, yeah,
Domicio,
Damien D'Amico. He's saying, yeah.
Look, it's not negative. The negative Arteta narratives are basically inevitable.
Mm,
Inevitable because the simple reason is that he's the man in the possession.
in the hot seat. Yeah.
He's a man that hasn't had the experience, but he's got very close to winning in the league. He should have won the league in the last 2 years where he got close to winning the league. There are going to be comparisons. Not everyone's going to be behind a manager. Not
No.
everyone is going to, like I said, go one way with Arteta. Give him credit, but don't give him any criticism. He seems like it's okay to give him credit for everything we achieve. He gets the credit all the time, but
Mm,
but he doesn't seem to get the criticism for the people who mattered, and that's where you would see it as an anti-Arteta narrative. You've got to remember another way, Damien. Arsenal are one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the biggest club in England.
yep.
Arsenal have to win every year. All the
Yep.
things that you praise Mikel for, i.e., making us difficult to beat, making us competitive in the league, making us, like I said, in my opinion, like I said, a force to be reckoned with. Well, that's just they should be. It's Arsenal.
Facts.
Ar- Arsenal, Arsenal should be doing that because of their size. They should be doing that because they've got good, very, very good players. If not, excellent footballers. You just do it, as Roy Keane says, you're just doing their job.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
Mikel Arteta is not just shouldn't be praised for doing what Arsenal should be doing. You know, if you've got a strong defence, you've got a very good team. You're just basically doing what you should be doing.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what Mikel Arteta's hired for is something a bit different. Mikel Arteta's hired to take us over the line, and if he
Mm, mm,
continually fails to do that, Damien, then we're well within our rights to say, well, we want him replaced. We're not happy with what we're getting. Close, and this season he deserves a lot of criticism because of where we finished. We finished way behind where we should be. You're going to say injuries, suspensions. Well, top teams with injuries, as Henri mentioned in the 2009 Champions League final, Barcelona had the whole defence out except for Gerard Piqué. Iniesta and Henri could barely walk, yet they found a way to win that final against a very, very, very world-class Man United side, which
Mm,
includes Ronaldo in
mm,
Rome. So top teams can still win trophies and big games without their best players.
mm, mm. Yeah, no, again, always just, I just thought I don't even feel like I should talk. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you're just schooling them, but you're absolutely right, Ken. You know, if you love something, you let it go. If you want it to do better, you don't enable, you kind of, you know, you positively reinforce. And that's what we're doing. You said it, you know, this guy's meant to be getting us across the line. He's meant to be improving Arsenal, not Arsenal improving Arteta, which I think is going on at this moment. Big up Static. He said the toxic positive Arteta narratives are even worse, way out of control. Well, yeah, there's an argument for that as well. Big up Static. He said 24 likes, like and subscribe. Let's go, people. Let's see if we can get it to 30. Terrence again said, yeah, I'm Aaron's dad. I just like to listen to genuine supporters football talk, and it doesn't matter what they support as long as they talk common sense. And you big yourself up, man. Always a pleasure to have you in here. Obviously, I've done plenty of work with Aaron. That's one of my mates. So it's a pleasure to have you in here, my friend, and I hope you're having a great weekend. Okay, you lot are talking between yourself. Let me find out if I can get to a couple more questions, because the time's just flown by. It's over an hour already, but that's what happens when you're having fun, people.
Mm.
Aces is saying Juventus want Gyökeres. I mean, we'll get into a little bit of that in just a
Mm.
moment. United interested in Sesko. I just don't want to ignore people for too long, because then they get a bit upset. William Holmes, most of our depth comes at the expense of moving a player from another position, but you can't build and maintain a team's chemistry by playing players out of position all the time. That's a great point, Kenny. I mean, what do you make of that quickly?
Thing is, about is that you know what it is. It's going back to Wenger days, isn't it? You try players in various positions,
Mm,
which so in a position where they can learn a game. And I think you're right. You know, ultimately, you want to play players in positions, but a manager's job is also a difficult one. Where if you spent millions of pounds on big players, i.e., like big players like Declan Rice and Kai Havertz, and they're your blue ribbon signings, you have to fit them in the team.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Declan Rice, you know, when he first came to football club, he was torn. He was torn between being a number 6 and number 8. We still had Thomas Partey, only for us to realise, well, the best number 6 of the football club and probably the best midfielder still Thomas Partey.
Mhm.
But we found a situation in the second half of this season, Declan Rice as a number 8 has been playing out of his skin, and he's able to sort of like improve his understanding of number 6, but he's not quite a number 6. Kai Havertz is another situation, is that, you know, we pay 65 million pounds for him. You know, he's seen as a generational player across Europe, especially when he's at Leverkusen.
Mm,
You've now that, you know, you have to fit him in a team and find a way to win football matches as well. The biggest problem we are going to have is that the blue ribbon position is the striker. Obviously, you're going to talk about Gyökeres
mhm,
and Sesko.
mhm.
You know, basically you've got like I said, the former is right now. The latter
Is
is basically someone who's going to be seen as a GOAT
yeah,
in the future. The
yeah.
situation is that you're arguing a toss over which players are suitable, whilst you've got Kai Havertz in a false number 9, because the midfield, you can't take Odegaard out of midfield, you can't take Declan Rice out of midfield, and if we get Zubimendi, you can't
Take him out.
take him out, and then
Mm,
you've got Marino pushing for a place. You know what I mean? So
mhm,
it's one of those things where does Kai Havertz play? And then the viewpoint of a lot of people in football is Arsenal would have won a trophy or may have won the league if we got a striker. You're now getting a striker, but you're now thinking, well, that striker is going to have to rotate the position with Kai Havertz, or that striker has got to play second fiddle to Kai Havertz. I mean,
mhm. It
there's a
makes
problem there, isn't it? And
yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, this is what I think, Kenny. I feel like this guy, and because of his little, he's gonna die on this sword, isn't it? Especially with Moreno, especially with Kai Havertz, he's gonna die on that sword. And you're absolutely right. They're almost like the teacher's pets, Ken. That he's got to fit them in. So I
yeah,
feel like, this is why for me, especially this year, I've been so kind of fixed onto Arteta and wanting him gone, because I'm not. I don't agree with half the things that he does. I don't see it. Do you know what I mean? I feel like we're playing a bit like Stoke. You know, where's that good football that we
Well,
had a couple of
you
years
know, the thing is, in mitigation, we did have PSG on the hop, skip, and jump. We we
ago?
had excellent chances, and their goal, Donnarumma made world class saves.
Mm,
World class saves. There was some really near misses. Declan Rice's head in the ball wide,
yeah.
but it nearly worked. But as you can see, when PSG got a handle
What we were doing,
how
yeah.
we were playing, and they got on the ball, they took control, and they deservedly won the match. But it's it's one of the things where Arsenal have been known for their set pieces. Obviously, you don't want to associate an Arsenal side with that kind of football, but our sort of prominence in set pieces now should have won us the league last season. Obviously, and then obviously in Europe, let's not forget when we smashed PSV and we smashed Sporting Lisbon, some of them were set pieces goals. So I can understand
Really?
it's not how I like to play the game, but if those goals went in and we managed to short up shop, who knows? We'll be in Munich. You'll be in Munich. All of us will be in Munich.
Yeah,
Trying to get
absolutely.
tickets today. So
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not too overtly critical of that way of playing. I don't
Mm,
like it. It doesn't
mm,
represent the panache that I love, but
right.
it's it is another way of playing football, and it was nearly successful.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, no. Great points, man. Great as always. I mean, it's just great points. Big up, Mister Battered. If I've said, I don't know why your name like gets me tongue tied, but there you go. Great show, guys. Kenny, thank you for keeping it real. Always enjoy hearing you speak with your wealth of experience and knowledge. What does he say at the end of this here? Bonus kudos for your love of
Well,
cricket.
it's
Okay.
it's a cricket season, isn't it? It's a
Yeah.
cricket season. You can't knock it. It's there's going to be some like decent cricket. There's going to be like the World Test Championships in about a couple of weeks' time,
Wow.
and
Wow.
obviously there's England play India, and when India come to England, the ticket sales
Yeah.
go
Through the
through the
roof.
roof, the
Yeah.
TV money's through the roof.
Yeah.
Indian fans will turn our English grounds into away grounds, like England fans be the away supporters.
Would that be at Lords, Ken?
Oh, the Test Championships at Lords, but England have got I don't know, is it a four match series or 5 match series against India? Either way, the
That's
ECB
a
are going
big
to make loads of money because when
yeah.
India come to town, that's the payday.
Course, mate. Of course, absolutely. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I like to play it back in the day, but I don't really know the rules of it. But of course, you need to look onto something else. I kind of, when the football season ends, I kind of drift towards boxing. But that's just me.
Oh, that's one of my loves as well. I love, I'm a fight fan. And actually, don't know if you saw my content. I sneaked in. Well, I didn't sneak in. I just walked into the weigh-in for the Chris Eubank.
And Ben, yeah, I did. I did see a
Well, I
little
work
clip.
for London Borough of Islington. I went to the top. I went to the Business Design Centre, had my big bag, my Islington Council badge. Just walked in.
Walked
I said,
in.
"Yeah, go in, go in." And as you get in, you get to the arena,
Right.
and then you walk forward. No one stops you. And you walk forward a bit more, and then you get to the cordon. You walk into the cordon, and you lift up the cordon, and you go and sit with a press box, and no one stops you.
Fucking
And you
hell.
sit
Go on,
down
Ken.
well, basically they had organised seats for the press, the
Yeah.
bo- the podcasters, approved podcasters, the approved magazine writers.
Wow.
BBC Sport was there, Sky Sports were there, TNT were there.
Kenny Ken was there. Come
You
on.
know, DAZN were there. All the big wigs were there. Eddie Hearn was there, and you think, right,
Right.
you go in there, no one challenges you. You go and sit in a seat, and you just get your phone out, and you act like a journalist. What can I say?
Kenny Ken, that's amazing, man. That is, and obviously, like that was a great fight as well for the British public. I thought,
Oh,
obviously, because,
yeah, and
yeah.
then you attend it, and it gets even better. My wife's, like I said, she's got a disabled badge, because she's got fibromyalgia. So you
So is
get,
my missus actually.
yeah,
Fibromyalgia,
it's
yeah.
so you get opposite the ground, and you get told, right, because you've got a disabled badge, you can park right outside right outside this turnstile you're meant to go into. And then
Oh,
you get into like the turnstile, and rather than queue up like everyone else, but you get in the lift, you go down the lift,
oh,
and then
treatment.
your seats are in the gods, and then your wife goes down and she says, "Right, I can't walk the stairs. Can you help me out here?" And I said, "Yeah."
Oh,
That those
the disabled.
sort of like disabled section
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
best seats, the best
Oh,
view of the ground is right there. You can go and sit there and say, "Oh yeah, my husband's my carer. Can he come?" So, yeah,
of course, yeah.
you can sit down there. So you get there,
Oh,
chuck you out the seats, and then the woman supervisor, head of supervisors, even gets you better seats. So you can't knock it.
hey, hey, that
Knock
is
it.
brilliant, Ken. That is brilliant. What a night that was as well. And the thing is,
Yeah,
I've been to the Tottenham Stadium, the new one, once because I worked for Philosophy Football and I went to do
yeah.
their build up for Bodo Glimt. It is a lovely stadium. I can't
Mm.
deny it. You know what I mean? It really is.
It's better than
Once,
ours.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah, it is.
it's better
No,
than
no, no.
ours.
It is. It is absolutely right. And once again, I agree with William. I could listen to Ken all day long. Let me see if there's any other before I kind of round it up because we're nearly an hour and a half. This has been just amazing. I obviously thank Ken for coming on again. Let me see if
No,
there's
I enjoyed it. You know what? What better to do? Have a podcast, and then you got the Champions League final, and
bars.
it's one of the things where you know I think Internazionale will win it on the basis they defend better and they're more all-round experienced team than PSG. But PSG play football with panache that I like and
Mm,
enjoy.
yeah.
And sometimes you want a team that plays the football panache to win.
Nice to win for football to win, and do you know what I see it almost the same as the semis because if you look at Inter and you look at Arsenal, we were kind of known for our defensive side.
Mm,
Then you look at PSG and Barca, as you say, known
mm,
for the panache and attacking. So, imagine if Inter and Arsenal got to the final, it could have just been like a boring game of chess, maybe. But this time, you feel like it's attack against defense as well. I'm with you. I feel like it's Inter's year, but I wouldn't be surprised
mm.
if PSG pull something out of the hat. Let me just see if there's any more questions before I round out with I just want your kind of end of season analysis, Ken. You know what I mean? Where do you think we're going to go in the summer? What do you think is going to happen next year? A little message for Arsenal fans that maybe like me that is kind of getting a bit impatient.
Mm.
Maybe not understanding everything. I mean, where do you think we're going, mate?
Well, first and foremost, Arsenal fans need to remember one thing that the transfer deadline, the transfer window starts in June, Monday, and we've got a good 3 months. We've got a good 2.5 months of it. So you've got to be patient, and Arsenal have to be active. But one thing about next season is that Man City are stealing the march and everyone because of the fact that they actually started their rebuild in January. They knew they weren't going to win the league. They probably knew they weren't going to get that far in the Champions League, and that the only way they were going to get to is probably the FA Cup final, and
Yeah,
that basically what they needed to do was just to make sure they got in the Champions League. So they bought about 3 players in January, and they're going to buy more players. So by that time, when it comes to like the World Club Championships, they're going to be strong. Liverpool already got out of traps with a couple of players, so we're going to face a strong Liverpool, a very strong Man City, where he's now got rid of the old guard, got rid of the players who got legs are gone, and he's made them stronger. And he's still got Haaland. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So what Arsenal need to do is they need to get out of traps as well. There was a viewpoint last season that it was only us and City. Well, we need to get rid of that. We need to freshen the team up. So we do need a left back. We do need like a left winger. Martinelli, yeah, he works his nuts off, but he's not good enough. He's not good enough.
facts.
Trossard's not good enough. So we've got to get one of them. Get a strike. Everyone says get a striker. I say if you're going to get a striker, a top class striker, change the way you play. But I'll take one thing: you've got to be immaculate. Got to be immaculate. You can't afford to drop points. You can't even afford to draw. Look how
Mm,
many draws we've got. And yeah,
mm,
Terence, a lot of the injuries. Well, the Saka one's down to Arteta.
mm,
And the reason
mm.
why you could say comfortably that Saka was down to Arteta because every season for the last couple of years, we've worried about Saka's workload. Without a shadow of doubt, we said, hang on here, can't we take him off? Why are you playing him every game? You know, we see the workload that he encounters when he plays for England. We knew that he's got massive effort workload. He never gets rotated, and he even plays in the Carling Cup games, which I say it respectfully. If you look at the first few rounds of Carling Cups, they're give me games. They're give me's. But he played in those games where give me's. If he weren't playing those games, he came on a substitute in those games, which I call give me's. Oh, come on, Preston away, Bolton, give me. That's a give me, isn't it?
Facts.
Yeah. So a lot of it is down Arteta, and you think about the situation regarding Kai. Again, the way we play, you can blame the manager because he doesn't rotate his players. We, without a shadow of doubt, struggled this season, gone to cope with the fact that the Champions League is now a tougher competition to win, where all the games have got some content. There's none of these easy group games that we were encountering, where we'll probably play one decent team home and away, and then after the rest of the time we should get through. In this Champions League, look, this season just gone, we had 8 games, are all 8 tough games. And we had to make sure that we finished in the top 8, so we'll get an easy passage into the last 16 knockout stages. And we were playing games every 2 to 3 days because we played games. Plus, we got the Carling Cup games. So there's no doubt about a shadow of doubt, Mikel Arteta's failure to cope with the increased workload and Mikel Arteta's failure to actually rotate led to injuries.
Yeah.
I saw that in my mind.
No doubt.
The season, and let's not forget, the Champions League extended right into the end of January. So we were playing a game every 2 to 3 days. That's on Mikel if he can't rotate his squad properly.
And facts, and let me just caveat that because they would have known about the extra fixtures, the 3 international breaks before January, and they failed to prepare. So I'm absolutely with Kenny here. Football YouTuber streamer clip says, "What's up with Arteta signing Chelsea rejects? Jorginho, what a waste of money. Basically got a retirement wage." Well, I mean,
it's easy to get the club, man. Though, it's easy to get a club for simple reason is that players we got are players who don't want to leave London. Sterling didn't want to leave London. Petr Cech didn't want to leave London. David Luiz, Willian, Jorginho. They don't want to leave. That used to be at Benayoun back in the day.
Yeah.
The fact is that we're in a situation where our cousins from Europe and our cousins from the Americas and our cousins from Africa, they want to live in London because London's the most cosmopolitan city in the world. Don't get me wrong. There's a Manchester quarter where Manchester's fantastic. I love it. I've been there. I love it. But 9 out of 10 times, our players want to live in London. Riyad Mahrez, who is at Leicester, guess where he lived?
London.
London. Him and his family is in London.
So he drove from London to Leicester, and
he used to stay at Leicester a couple of times. But he used to live in London. Roberto Solano, one of the reasons why he had to leave Newcastle was because after he left Newcastle, he went to West Ham, and his family loved London so much. Obviously, he's Peruvian.
Yeah,
his family refused to come to Newcastle. They stay in London.
What a player he was as well.
So it's no brainer getting Chelsea players to come and play for us. No brainer.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And always with the kind of the knowledge that people don't kind of take into, it's not their first port of call, if you know what I mean, because that is important, being in London, and that's why Thomas Partey's probably going to re-sign a contract with us. Big up Terence again. He said, "Views and Kenny, I honestly believe you will sign the striker, but I'll Tasha with." Tasha, he's saying about Arteta will not play him in the normal role at the end of the season. When you are finished second again, he will say, "Told you." I mean, what do you think about
3 seconds? If we don't come at trips, I think if Liverpool, Man City go the way I think we'll probably get third because Man City mean business. They actually mean business. Liverpool have to retain the title because of Liverpool.
Mhm.
You know, you can never say never because football's a funny old game. And a year, a lot of things happen in the 365 days of a calendar year.
Mhm.
But if I was to put my money on it on the top three finishes, I have to say it's between Liverpool and Man City on the basis that Man City have done their business early and Liverpool are, they're not sitting still.
They
You know,
ain't
they brought their Brian Frimpong, a player that he knows from
from
he knows from a Dutch
yeah,
player that he knows.
yeah,
He's buying foreign verts who I thought would go to either Man City or Bayern
Man
Munich.
City. Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, they're going they're going strong without shadow of doubt. And then that he's gonna buy again. Either Yotta or Nunez are gonna have to go, so he's gonna have upgraded them.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
No, absolutely right, man. Absolutely bang on. Big up Rams in the building. I did see you, my friend. Big up Gavin L. Big up everyone who's left a comment and come in and showed love and questions for the legend. Has Havertz signing for you guys been a complete failure? Not good enough as main striker or attacking midfielder. We did kind of touch on that a little bit, and I think the general consensus is that yes, he is. We are kind of stuck with him.
He's tactically disruptive, not
Mm,
in a nice way, because simple reason is that you have to find a way for him to play and still win big game. And to be honest, if he was fit all season, he probably would have got back 12 or 13 goals. Let's be
facts.
honest.
Facts. Mr. Robin Lau was talking about him getting 20. I just never saw that ever, ever, ever. I mean, I don't know what your opinion is on that quickly.
One thing about Kai Havertz, he hasn't he hasn't been poor overall. However, the fact is that he's not what we need. He hasn't, he's had a fair couple of years at the football club, but
Mm,
fair's not good enough for Arsenal.
No, bang on the money. Big up Gary, don't waste the trip. Big up all my American brothers. I hope you're well today. Make sure you guys are subscribing to Gary, to Shane. I think BBK's in the building. Big up Dr. Seymour Butts. He's helped me with a few things behind the scenes. We're gonna do some Top Gooner bingo, Kenny. So next time, like you're on a show with Dan Potts and a couple of other people, we're gonna have a little review, and then we're gonna do a Top Gooner bingo. What I'll do is I'll give you a quick little look at it before we round up. It's still in the prototype stages. So big up Dr. Seymour Butts. We'll just give you a little idea of what the Top Gooner bingo will look like. Here it goes here. I don't know if you can see it. We've got some categories here, so we're going to be doing this, and then any kind of super chats or any buy me a coffee donations, if anyone gets a full house, we're going to be sending the money out to them. So we've got categories like XG says we won through. This is from all the excuse makers. He outcoached Pep. We can put a few in there. We beat Man City one, things like that. Injuries, that's always one that comes up. Trust the process. I mean, we're still defining it a little bit, because I want to put things like the points, the points tally in there. He's building a culture. We dominated possession. The refs are against us. You just don't get Arteta ball. So we got the world of excuses. We beat Real Madrid. He said the Top Gooner say things like we're competing again, Ken. When to be honest, let's have it right, yeah. And I'll get rid of this now. Let's have it right, bro. It's not like we was like finishing where Tottenham or Man United were under Unai. Do you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure we finished.
The thing about the Real Madrid game, right, is that look, you beat a world class club, but in essence, if you compare the Real Madrid to the PSG game, the fact is we played individuals that day, both home and away,
Mm,
and we beat individuals. We didn't beat a team because they weren't a team. They're a
facts.
very decimated team as well, and then because they found it difficult to break us down. They were playing for themselves rather than for the team. Whilst PSG, there's a plan. There was a
Yeah.
well executed plan,
Mhm.
and the best players in their team made sacrifices. Like they actually were excellent off the ball in both games.
They were. They were.
Especially in the first leg, they were excellent off the ball. That's why we couldn't break them down. In the second leg, after they came to terms with their Republic of Ireland tactics, they became excellent off the ball. You know what I
Mm,
mean? They only made one mistake and Saka scored from it after
mm,
we kind of dominated. the
Mm.
first, 20 minutes
Yeah,
of the second half.
yeah.
That's the first half. So yeah, Real Madrid, you got look. It's good for the memories. I was there at Real Madrid when we won 3-0. I didn't leave the Emirates till midnight. I know what you're talking about. I didn't leave the Emirates till midnight.
It's the dopamine, man. We're all, we're all addicts for it.
Everyone was there.
Mhm.
So many celebrities were at the
Oh,
game. I saw one of the girls. She's from Hackney, but she's in Black Panther.
oh
Letitia,
yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
she's from
I think my cousin does her hair.
yeah. So yeah, Letitia Wright. She's from Hackney. She was in Top Boy.
Hmm.
If you remember it, Top Boy.
Okay. Big
The
up.
original Top Boy is from Channel 4.
Yep,
And I
yep.
saw Tam Hussein,
Oh,
Millwall guy.
Tama. Yeah,
And I said, "What are you doing?" He's, "Oh, his son's an Arsenal fan. He got him a ticket." Everyone just wanted to be at that game. Do you know what I
exactly,
mean?
exactly. The culture that they're
Yeah.
trying to
I
build
went,
up.
yeah. And it's Real Madrid, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Big nights, big night. And this is what it's here for. And like I was saying, Kenny, this is why I believe like the cut. And I was saying it to Matty yesterday. I don't believe the club believe that we were going to win because, like I said, a lot of the times I get to go and do these games in the Real Madrid quarter. I got to go and do it at the Emirates, putting those little shitty bags down. That no one really liked, and I was talking to the staff, and I was like, "Why are we not penciled in for the semi-final?" When everyone was kind of looking away and didn't want to answer me. I don't believe the club thought we were going to get past that game, mate.
Well, not at all. I think, the club did think we're getting a Barnes game. And I think in their arrogance, because we beat Man United, Real Madrid, that we were going to beat, we were shooing to win the final, I suppose. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mm.
Because at the end of the day, if you beat Real Madrid, you know, Real Madrid, you are amongst the favourites to win the Champions League because every season they're the favourites to win the Champions League. They won the most tournaments,
Yeah.
15, and it's not going to stop it there. You know,
Mm-mm.
don't
Mm-mm.
be surprised if they win it again this year and the year before. The Champions League is the only trophy that matters at Real Madrid, and
Mhm.
I would say that it seems to be the only trophy that seems to matter at Man United and AC Milan. Sir Alex Ferguson was obsessed with the Champions League, but you
Champions
know
League.
what? The Champions League means a lot of Man United fans because Liverpool won more than them.
Exactly. They got six, didn't they? Yeah, yeah. No, great points as always. Big up BBK, my bro. Big up BBK. He was on Under the Lens as well. My Seattle people. He's got a question here for Ken. What's more likely to happen next season? Arteta sack or Arsenal win a trophy?
You know what? You know what? Judging by our records and judging by the squad that I think we're going to have, because the squad's going to be not big enough, we're going to find it very difficult to be able to compete outside the Champions League and the FA Cup, but
Mm,
Champions League and the league.
mm.
Because if we had a proper squad like Man City's, big squad, and probably a little bit like Liverpool's,
Mm.
we could definitely say we could win. We should compete for everything. In any way, we should anyway.
We should, yeah. And I
If
think
we
that's
win
important.
a trophy for some reason, right? We struggle against teams that you know are
It's like,
at it in all
yeah,
aspects of the game.
yeah.
I can't say hand on heart that Arsenal are going to win a trophy next year on on the on the evidence of the last few years. If we couldn't win the league when we were 8 points ahead of Man City, and we couldn't win the league the season just before this season just
Yeah,
where it was in our hands.
yeah.
No, we're going to win trophies.
Exactly, and as well, Kenny, we never had the injuries then. We didn't have all the
Mhm.
suspensions and other stuff. So if you can't do it when everything's going for you, then what makes you think it's gonna? No, I'm totally with you. I'm totally with you.
One thing I will say about Mikel is that if Man City is as strong as I think they're going to be, and Liverpool as strong as before, and we're not so much in their coattails, he's going to have to go all out in the Champions League and go all out in the FA Cup and the
Mm,
League Cup. I
mm.
think the fans need a trophy. We
Oh,
badly need a trophy. I
desperate,
think the players need a trophy as well.
des-
Mikel needs a trophy.
desperately. Yeah.
Mikel, and I think another thing as well. I think that some fans may not change their mind on Mikel, but they will be prepared to give Mikel more time in order to win the league or the Champions League if he brings it back an FA Cup or League Cup.
You're
I think
talking. You're
I'm not.
talking to
I
me,
can't
Ken.
speak for myself,
No, no,
but
no. You're talking. That's me.
I
That's
think.
me.
I think. I think you'll think. You know what? You'll take it because he's shown he can win silverware.
Mm, mm,
With this team.
mm. And that's me. You're basically talking to me because look, I want Arteta out. I've wanted him out from the summer that we had last summer. Moreno, Calafiori, Neto, and Sterling. I've wanted him out for all of his in-game management that I haven't agreed with, his pragmatism, things like that. However, I love Arsenal more than I hate Arteta. I,
Mm.
I wanted Arsenal to lift that Champions League for my dad, for my whole family, more than I want Arteta gone. And I said, if Arteta wins that Champions League, then at least for the next year, maybe 2 years, it's factory reset. You've won us something. You've got us the big ears. You know.
And I think that's the situation. But the thing about it is that you become so used to not winning trophies that you find it hard to predict you're going to win anything.
Yeah.
That lot down at Seven Sisters Road. I don't think they even dreamed of winning a trophy until they got to the semi-finals of the Europa League, and it became reality. Bloody hell! The amount of fans that went out to Bilbao for that final, and the amount of fans that went to the stadium and watch it on the final just shows you how starved they were of silver, and the fact that they won silver as well. Whether we like it or not, you can slag them off to the hills and call them all sorts of adjectives, but they're a massive club. The
Yeah.
reason why I know it's a massive, you could say they're a massive club. Come on, look how many people was turned out for a trophy parade
Mm.
where it wasn't a Champions League, it wasn't the league, it was a Europa League, which is still one of the most
Major.
important trophies in the world. But you think about it, they got 250,000 people to a parade on a Friday,
Yeah.
and it's on a work day,
Work day, no
obviously
bank
the last
holiday.
work day of the week.
Yeah.
They're a big club.
Big club, man. Big club. And yeah, absolutely right. The amount of fans that they took out there to Bilbao was more than your Man United fans. And I've always said that about Tottenham. They've got the infrastructure. Levy's a very smart guy. He makes a fuck ton loads of money, and I've just never known why they haven't really pushed on. But you're absolutely right there, Ken. As always, big up Terence Knowles. He said, "I love my cricket. Watch it every weekend at Hillingdon. Got my little spot. I can sit down there and listen to
Good
football and
stuff.
watch cricket." Yeah, well, there you go, mate. There you go.
Oh,
Big up
but the thing is, Terence, most of the chat don't like cricket. They think it's too long.
So I can't even lie. Playing it and watching it is two different things, man. Obviously my mum's from Antigua and Jamaica. My dad's Italian Irish. So when I was over in the Caribbean, it was massive. But I was just like, as a young boy trying to sit down and watch it, I could just never get into it. But no,
Well, what it is, right? Is that believe it or not, man. Back in the day, I could watch snooker.
I like snooker.
I can watch cricket, and I still like a bit of cricket. But I do understand nowadays is that it's a quiet taste. And Test cricket, you play for 5 days, and you can still not get a result. You can still get a draw, and that's a concept that a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, it's like an endurance one. But yeah, I hear it. Big up Rashid, man. Each and every time Arsenal Revolution TV. Big up legends. Big you up, my bro. And thank you again for understanding. Yesterday we're gonna have Rashid on this Under the Lens as well next week. So looking forward to that. Big up Rashid. Make sure you get him to 900 subs. Make sure you subscribe to the broski. Seymour's bigging up Rashid. Just want to see if there's anything else in there worth getting onto, and then I'll obviously kind of close out with your last final messages. Big up Dr. Seymour said, as good as it gets supporting this shit ass club, my bro. But apart that we breezy. I'm not even sure what that's linked to, so my apologies. Big up Like Thief. Thank you for passing through. What a time to be alive. Do you know what I call it, Ken? I feel like we're in the upside down or the twilight zone. Do you know what I mean? Like we've gone all this time and everyone's winning stuff around us, and here we are, with the same excuses and everything else like that. It's mental.
It's just going to ramp up the pressure. There's a lot of Arsenal fans who are in denial because they don't want to be seen as negative fans or fans who hate the club. The fact is that if you're an Arsenal fan, watching Tottenham go on a trophy parade will hurt. It's irrelevant what competition it is. They've won a trophy and we haven't.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing as well is that it just illuminates how poor we have been in Europe. Our European record is something that shames us all. Shames us all. Our European record is so bad that some fans forget that we actually won a trophy in 1970, that we got two. A lot of fans,
Just
even
think,
South Africans, think we only won one European trophy. We won two.
oh yeah,
Only that they, because it's been so long between for us to win something, they forget about the Fairs Cup in 1970. But even so, a European record just shames us all. Shames us all.
It does, it does. And Tottenham, I think, have now got 4. So yeah, you know, well said. Big up Kyle Walsh, Gunner man, the legend in the building, the volcano. He is going to be on under the lens as well next week. Welcome on in, my bro. Big up for showing some love. How you doing, Rashid? People just saying hello. Just want to see if there's anything else to talk about. Kenny, my favorite player of the '89 team was Rocastle. Who was yours? That's from Carl Walsh.
Oh, that's Rocky as well. Rocky as well. He's playing his best football at the time, and you know, him and Brian Marwood were one of the reasons. Obviously, Alan Smith getting those 23 goals. They're one of the reasons why Arsenal won the league. It was those kind of 3 players, and obviously we had the side defence, but we nearly threw it away in '89. You know, we were leading the table for a good chunk of the season, but, and I say a big but, we went through sort of a slump in around February and March, and that coincided Liverpool just from the 1st of January '89 going on a run where they didn't lose any games until the last game of the season at Anfield. So yeah, that was a great memories, and the person who gave us that memory, George Graham, is ignored by the football club, which is a shame.
Should have a statue.
Oh, right, so that.
Yeah.
And anyone who says, oh, because he went to Spurs, well, lining up to give the players a guard of honour, the Tottenham players a guard of honour last Tuesday, were Spurs players who either won the UEFA Cup in 1974, 72, and the Spurs players who won the UEFA Cup in 1984. And amongst those players was one Pat Jennings, who spent 8 glorious years with us at Arsenal.
We got Pat.
Pat Jennings sees himself as a Spurs legend. He actually works for Spurs in a sort of like, how do I say it? Heritage part of the club. He does the tours. He's at the ground and he's Spurs blazer. He's more Spurs than Arsenal. In fact, he's not Arsenal. He's Spurs.
Spurs.
Spurs fans forgive him for going to he's forgiven for going to Arsenal. Yeah, George Graham is forgiven for going to Arsenal.
Yeah, I think a lot of our fans are hypocrites, Ken, to be honest, as well. Do you know what I mean? So
they love Arsene Wenger and respect to that. They do respect to that. Arsene Wenger, you know, I was critical of Arsene Wenger, but George Graham for me is our best ever manager.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like I said, you know, I was born in '84, so I kind of missed that a little bit. And it was more Wenger, but my dad was always keeping me up to date and, you know, showing me, you know, even the Anfield '89 and stuff like that. So, big up Terence Knowles again. He said, please sign Kudus for a stupid amount. The man is so temperamental. It doesn't matter what team he plays for when he can't be bothered. He can't be bothered at all. Signs are you may go for him. Now, I was talking about Kudus last year, but I don't think he's kind of blown the league away this year, to be honest with you.
One thing I would say about Kudus is that when West Ham beat us,
played well
at the Emirates, he was the best player.
Yeah, was that the 1-0?
Quality.
Yeah,
the way he held the ball up, the torrid time he gave, you know, our left backs as well, and he was just on fire that day. You know what I mean? He was unplayable. So I think Terence is right. Kudus does blow out and cold, but that's the thing, because West Ham have been sort of like, basically they've been like a mess this season because Lopetegui stayed on probably a bit too long, and then you got, you know, Potter, and Potter's tactics are no different to Lopetegui's.
It don't look like it, does it? No.
And no disrespect to both tactics. West Ham last season, it's been hard to watch them. It's been hard to watch, and Potter needs to get out of traps, because there's no way Potter was playing that football at Brighton.
Mm.
So why when you arguably, in my opinion, you've got potentially a better team, are you playing that garbage?
Do you know what I will say as well, Ken? It's like I've seen them a couple of times this year, and big up Tony Hammers Football TV. He's been on the platform. Big up GVO Mike's West Ham fans, people that I got a lot of respect for. And I like the club. I've done work there plenty of times. I've done the Mark Noble testimonial when they had the number 10. It was me that was doing the design. You know, I just think that when Graham Potter's taken a little bit like Arteta, when he's taken his foot off the brake a little bit, you've seen West Ham kind of perform a little, and then it's like I think he kind of keeps them a little bit pragmatic, a bit too much. Just in my little observation there. Big up Mike. He said rather have Bowen. I think Bowen's definitely underrated, 100%.
He's a fantastic footballer.
Yeah.
But you know, with Bowen, I think
Yeah.
him and West Ham suit each other to the extent that, he's found a club for him and West Ham got to play for him. But it's a situation again, he will be there for the next season. But I do think that West Ham have got to build a team around him. They've let a few players go. Players were coming in a contract, but he needs an upgrade. The money's there. Let's not forget a couple of years ago, you won a European trophy. And the season before that, you got to European semi-final. The season after that, you got European quarter final. Players are there, but you need to get in a situation where you're not buying players like Falkirk. You're not relying on players like returning of injury like Mikel Tunney. You need upgrades. The money's there. I don't see why West Ham can't attract a young players. Don't get it wrong. Young players are going to move on, but why can't I just get the team and play the football that West Ham fans demand?
And I've listened to a few of them this season, and they're saying they want at least like one marquee player this season. And listen, I thought they were going to have a much better season than they did because of all the activity in the summer. But it just goes to show you it don't always help, does it, Ken?
No, it's all. You think about it is that one thing you can't deny about Sullivan. Obviously, Gold's gone. God bless his soul. He does eventually listen to the fans if they are not happy with the manager. More than most. One thing I would say about Sullivan is that him and Brady run it like a business, and they're very risk free. They don't like risks in order to get the team going up and down.
No. Again, very astute. Big up Terence again. He said, "Views and Kenny, thank you for the support you have given Aaron as well. It's meant 1 million, bro." Like, that's my mate, man. Always going to be there for Aaron. He's flying. He'll probably be taking me over soon. Do you know what I mean? He's absolutely flying, and I'm happy for him and my brother Shane as well. Because that's all we try and do is help people over here. We want to build the community, especially when they're giving off the message that we are. So, if anything, when he jumps on here, he helps me. We help each other, bro. But that's the broski. Always got respect for Aaron, man. Big up Rashid. Here's another one part of the community. This is another person that I consider community. He said, "Thanks, Terence. To be honest, he was underrated. Thankfully, his channel's starting to fly." Exactly.
100%.
100%, man. Big up Aaron, big up Terence each and every time. Big up my bro Rashid as well, man. That's definitely part of the community. Carl Walsh, Gunner, Kyle, Gun Down, Jez, DJ, Lee, Kenny, Matt. It's all part of the community over here, man. So big up everyone. Big up Dasauji Gurmav. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. The Arsenal player should be Jokeres.
I think the thing with Jokeres is that I don't know, man. We've never. The only reason why he's been mentioned, I don't know whether it's Berta's reference or the fact that we can afford his sort of like buyout clause. The situation is that there's no evidence that Mikel, was ever, like had the player on his radar. He might have been on his radar, but his first choice has always been Sesko, and he's put his nailed his colours to that mast. Another thing Jokeres as well, you're always going to say right now we need someone who's scored big in the legs, and you've got to respect that. But let's not forget, and don't take this wrong way, so did Darwin Nunes.
Portuguese league, yeah.
At Benfica. I'm not, you know what I mean? It's a massive risk, but the big clubs you know, what they want. If someone can score 30 or 40 goals in the European League, you've got to get in for him.
You've
But
got to look at it. I think, do you know what it is, Ken? I think it's because of the because obviously, you know, we're a bit older than some of these younger fans. You know, we've seen how good football was back in the day. There was a,
mm,
you know, plethora of world class talent in loads of positions. Now it's a little bit, you know, there's hardly nothing around. So I
well,
think,
there's no room for strikers.
yeah,
Strikers have to be the first defender now. Yeah.
especially in Arteta's system,
You know, and another thing, and that's the thing. You know, the way we play, we don't get the full ball forward quickly.
quick enough. Yeah,
Don't get the ball forward quickly.
yeah.
In a way, our football tends to like be, you know, so evolutionary. We tend to evolve our style. We're
Mm.
not like someone. Right, if you've got a striker, what you need to do is get him in the game quickly. Get him in the
Yeah,
game.
yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, not slow it down. Odegaard turning around, going
Yeah.
backwards. Yeah, totally get it.
Imagine Joy Caress. Oh, did us doing that? You're getting Joy. You're getting Odegaard around the throat at half time.
You
What?
know, the thing he's probably asked when he's, you know, when Arsenal has approached him is like, do I have to track back? Because I mean, look, I mean, Salah came out in an interview and just said, look, this is the one thing Slot's done. He's told me I don't need to track back, and now look what he's doing at the other end of the pitch.
Mhm.
So, you know, yeah, there is a question here for you, Ken, and it's 3 o'clock. We've gone for 2 hours. Shane's on with the Sunday roast at 3:30, so we are going to redirect to him. It's Everett. Sorry, it's me. Everest said, question, Kenny, who's your all-time fave cricketer? Mine is a toss-up between Shane Warne and Brian
All right.
Lara.
You know what? Both goats, both the greatest players. For me, seeing him live, my favourite cricketer has always been Ian Botham. It's been both of them.
England
Without a
cricketer.
shadow of doubt.
Mm,
And because when I was a youngster, Ian Botham, you know, was like one of the greatest entertainers in cricket. When I
mm,
was a toddler, he won games for England on his own.
wow,
Botham's Ashes in '81.
wow.
So for me, he's the greatest. Obviously, for me, he's my favourite cricketer, without a shadow of doubt. But obviously, I was a big fan of the West Indies cricket team. I
Brian,
love watching Shane Warne. I love watching, you know, like Dennis Lee. I had a bit of a soft spot for Terry Alderman because I was fascinated how many wickets he used to get against England. But you're right. Um, without a shadow of doubt, Boff is my favourite cricketer.
Shane Warne Australian.
Yeah, Shane was Australian.
Mm,
Yeah, it's such
mm,
a shame that
mm.
you
I think
know,
I remember him. He's quite a personality, weren't he? Like he
yeah,
was.
definitely great one. They say one of the great cricketers of all time. It's just a shame that he's off. It's a shame he didn't look after his body.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, 52 is no age to lose your life.
No, no, it really isn't. It really isn't. And my dad, he was what, 61, 62. So yeah, it's just, you know, that's young in my opinion. Raj Singh, big yourself up. Raj, he's asking Kenny Usyk or Dubois.
Oh, Uzik's well, he's basically like a maths exam. You
Generational.
just don't know the answer.
Yeah.
He's got so many. He's got so many gears, and he takes the fight from you from probably the first bell. Look at the game. Look at his fight against Joshua. The first fight, he just took the fight away from Joshua. I was at that fight, and the second fight, obviously, was in Dubai. Joshua actually fought well. It was probably Joshua's best performances, especially in the second half when he got Usyk. But Usyk was still the clear winner.
Yeah,
Tyson Fury fought probably his best fight in the first fight. Usyk won clearly. Second fight, Usyk just took the fight away from him.
he's a
You know what I mean?
legend. He's an
He's
anomaly.
he's absolutely legend. He's you know why? Because he's a boxer. He's a boxer and who can fight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Great way to put it. And you're right. I think only old age is going to beat Usyk, in my opinion. Big up, why not? Big up. Thank you for passing through. So big up views and head honcho Kenny Ken. Come on, man, real legend. Big up Terence again. I think he's talking to it's me and more cricket talk. I just want to see if there's any more questions before we round up. Big up Nick Fadley. Welcome on in. Thank you for passing through. It's me, Everest, with the thumbs up. Cool. So let me just ask you before we kind of try and wrap it on up here. What do you make of this whole Berta appointment, Ken? Because obviously, you had Rosicki in the wings, you had,
Mm,
named Jason Ato, who didn't even do anything in January. Some people like me, it was like my last hope. Maybe he's going to come in and
mm.
steer the ship in the right direction. And other people are like, no, he's here to come and help Arteta. I mean, what do you think about the appointment? What do you think he's here to do,
Well,
mate?
the club will say he's here to help Arteta, but he does. He's here to help Arteta. He's not here to work for Arteta. He's here to work for like Josh Kroenke.
Mm.
You know, Kroenke is one of those people. He's a quick learner. One thing about him is his business, and he will get advice about who do you get on to, who are the best people behind the scenes, and ultimately he's going to work for him. Berta's job, we need Berta in order to get the context. But another thing as well, one of the things we do very badly is sell our players. And in terms of our salaries, we sometimes put players on long contracts and on big contracts as well. So
Yeah.
Bert's job as a sport director is not just about buying players to help Mikel, it's by getting these players off the books. And Arsenal, whether they like it or not, have to listen to big offers because we've got to run it as a business. PSR and FFP are, like I said, the alpha and omega of football clubs. You know, you're seeing players in them. You're seeing clubs get penalised, getting dot points. Man City to this day, you don't. Man City have long. The reason why we probably don't know where the verdict is or when the actual hearing is because Man City have got big ass lawyers who are basically challenging everything,
Yeah.
and they're delaying it. They're delaying it. I'll tell you now, they are absolutely delaying this process because they're arguing over everything, and that's why they think they're going to win. They're hoping the longer it goes on, the Premier League would say, you know what, stuff it.
Mm.
That's what they're
Mm.
doing, and
Mm.
they should do. They
Yeah.
should. They should
Yeah.
fight their corner.
Yeah.
You know, why should they be made an example of?
Exactly, they've got the money to, and I think you're heading in the right direction because it also, you know, shines a bad light on the league as well. So,
Mhm.
you know, that's probably why a lot of this stuff ain't going on. And for a team that's got all of those charges and everything over their head, they're not moving like it, are they? Because as you said, they already started their preseason in January. So
Mhm.
yeah, amazing points. Big up Shane Gooner, the broskies in the building. What a show, two legends. Big yourself up. Go and subscribe to Shane. Like I said, we are gonna direct over to Shane once this is finished. Big up sorry, there was another question there. I think big up why not. He said, Kenny views if you was to place a spread bet on tonight. I don't bet, but maybe Kenny does. Winner goals over one. What does that say? 1.52 over the individual scorers. I mean,
That's it all, mate. I love the odd bet, but that's solely nosy stuff, mate. There. If I was just to sort of go it, I'm going to be very, very boring. It's going to be 1-0. And I think
Internet.
it's going to be 1-0 to Internazionale.
Mm, mm,
Sorry, sadly, I just think that they're going to be making themselves difficult to beat. But you know what? You know, the football fan of me wants it to go to penalties and extra time penalties because I just don't want the game to end. You
yeah,
know what I mean? I just don't
yeah,
want it to end.
yeah. No, and that's how I felt about the how can I say about the PSG Barcelona game. That's how I felt about that, mate, because it was so good. And then I thought it can't be that good, you know, in the second leg. And it's just like the game never ended and just continued. So
Oh, with
yeah,
two seats.
yeah. What a great game that was. Big up Terence Knowles. He said, "Thank you, Kenny. Watch a load of sense you just taught." Yeah, facts. Bowen is hammer through and through, and yes, he needs to support next season. I will guarantee between 11th and 9th. Yeah, I think Bowen's is class, man. Mike's obviously said, you know, he's probably one of the only players in the league that can really have a comparison to Saka, and I think he's got
You
an
know what?
argument. Go on, mate.
He's had a fantastic time with West Ham. Scored a load of goals. He's the leader of the team. He's got international recognition through Southgate as well. You know, and you know it's one of the things. Just build a side around him. But you know, West Ham, you know, need to be looking over their shoulders. So look what Crystal Palace have done. Crystal Palace don't have the resources that they have, but Crystal Palace, one thing Crystal Palace have over West Ham, and West Ham used to do it really well. Is Crystal Palace have got local lads in South London come through,
Mm,
and they've got a lot of skillful, pacey players. Hence the fact that they're always gonna compete and fight and be comfortable in this league because of the players they can amass from that area. But
mm.
West Ham, in my opinion, are a bigger club than Crystal Palace and should be playing the kind of football that Crystal Palace are capable of playing.
Facts. Yeah. And I've been to the London Stadium. I never went to Upton Park, but like I said, I've done work at the London Stadium lots. I mean, I know quite a lot of West Ham fans don't like it, but I think it's a lovely stadium. I really do.
No, they
Um,
hate it. They hate it. They hate it. I ain't gonna lie. They bloody hate
They
it.
hate it, didn't they? Yeah, I don't know, but
You,
there you go. Go on. Sorry, I
the
was
reason
going to
why
say.
I hate it is it's not Upton Park.
Right.
There's
Right.
no chicken run.
Yeah.
There's no like close. You know, like I said, close to the pitch. You
Yeah.
know, it's
Yeah.
one of the things where you're as far away from the ground. But the fact is that West Ham have been very clever to the extent that they've stayed in Newham and they've managed to get new fans to the ground.
Mm,
And he says it's got a big immigrant community, and they're all becoming West Ham fans. Getting season tickets are not as expensive as Arsenal's,
mhm.
and they know that around that area they're potentially losing a lot of fans to the other London clubs,
Yeah.
Chelsea's, your Arsenal's, Liverpool, and
Yeah.
obviously losing clubs to Liverpool. So
Mhm.
to the other big clubs like Liverpool, Man United. So it's one of those things where they have really, really attacked that community and said, right, come on, get support in your local club, and they truly have. Although I have to admit, I did laugh when I was up to the London Stadium when I knew there was a few Arsenal fans trying to get in the West Ham end. You know what some of our Arsenal fans are like?
Yeah. Yeah.
They're so dumb. They'll cheer when Arsenal scored. I mean, we had a few pork chops who, sort of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium last year, where they didn't understand the concept of Arsenal Tottenham. So they got tickets, jumped up when Arsenal scored, and got and basically had to get up for no safety. Some got a big game because they were throwing punches when they got attacked and punched, but they got taken out for their own safety. The same thing happened
All right.
at
London
West Ham, but
Stadium.
this time, I saw a lot of our fans getting a good kicking. Getting laid out. I was thinking,
Serves you right.
modern,
Serves you right.
modern football fans, especially the young Arsenal fans,
They
think
don't get.
no disrespect to you guys, right? A lot of the fans who go to football, they're not part of your ends
Mm,
mentality. They will
mm.
attack you. They may not go near you in any other aspect, but you get them in their football ground and get them in their party, and you take the liberties in their in their den, you're getting it.
Getting it. You'll get. I remember Stamford Bridge was always hard to get out of. I've been there a couple of times. That was a bit,
Yeah,
a
of
bit
course.
nerve-wracking.
You think about it. These football fans, a lot of them live in don't even live in the
Mm,
locality. Some of them live outside in the home counties.
mhm.
Get them in a football ground, mate. They they, they probably about 10 foot taller, and they're probably 3 times stronger
Stronger, yeah.
and 10 times more game. You take liberties in their ground.
That's it, mate. That is it. Big up. Why not? He's asking Kenny. Windies versus England. What do you reckon?
Oh, England all day long. The West Indies one day team. I mean, they 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 don't know how to build an innings, and their bowlers let England off the hook.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, I don't know enough about it, but as you said, look, Kenny's got the insight as always. Big up Adeyeri. I hope I said your name's right. He said Under the Lens. How are you? Under the Lens is the name of the show. I'm Views on Sport. That's Kenny Ken, but big yourself up. He said Newcastle United should sign Garcia, Mateo, Guendouzi, and Brian Embuemo. 60 million deal for Newcastle United, and Lee Kang signed for Newcastle United. João Pedro, Jonathan
You know
David.
what? That they're good signings.
Yeah.
Buemo is a different is another one. You got to shake Thomas Frankie's hand. Ivan Toney's left the football club, and he's got 3 players in double figures. You've got Wizard,
So, yeah.
19 goals,
Yeah.
Embuemo 20 goals, and Schneider 12 goals, all in the
Amazing.
league.
Amazing.
And everyone thought they were going to miss Ivan Toney, especially his goals. What happened? 3 players uh,
Bang.
have all scored double figures, and one guy's got 20 goals. Shake his hand. And even Wolves, don't knock Wolves. Let's not forget Strand Larson.
Lawson, yeah.
His first season's got 13 goals. Cunha's got about 15, 16. And this is Wolves.
Wolves pissing on Havertz. Yeah,
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 Arsenal, 9.
9, and for 101 years. Big up Shane, because he's definitely one that didn't let that one go. Big up BBK. He said I think 1-0 as well. Champions League final. We are watching that tonight. Me and Shane Goon are doing a joint watch along. So catch us like 7:45. we will be tuning into the Champions League final. Like Thief said, Fabian Ruiz score or assist. Are you still predicting for the
Very
final?
good player. He had a very, very, very excellent game at the Emirates. Fabian Ruiz went under the radar as well.
Facts.
And obviously he
Facts.
scored a fantastic goal in the second leg, in it.
Leg. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Yeah. Adeyeri says, "Hi Kenny, how are you?" New. I think you
I
just
think he
basically said,
starts that one. Or he
yeah,
said,
yeah. I think he just says. I think he just says the same comment there. But big yourself up, my bro. Big up Binks. He said, "I work near West Ham ground. No chicken run anymore. All very pleasant." Yeah, I know you can
oh,
do
you
it.
know what? It's just like a shopping centre, mate.
Yeah. Come out
It's
of
still,
Stratford.
mind you, it's still business as usual. If we lose against West Ham, we lose or draw against West Ham, we can still go through and make our own way
Mm,
out of the stadium. If we
mm.
beat them, it's calling off. It's on. We're
It's
not
on.
getting out there alive.
I've
So
actually seen someone get slapped outside the London
yeah.
Stadium as well. I've
Well,
actually seen it a few times actually.
when they beat us 3-1 in the League Cup last season, and I was at the game, I could go about my business and get home my way. When we
Mm.
won 6-0, I was they calling off access to the home supporters. So
Different.
make it make sense. Nothing's changed, mate, with that club. Nothing's
Make
changed.
it make sense. Exactly that, man. Brilliant. Let me just check this one thing here. I just want to see if there's anything else. These pork chops deserve what they get. Yeah, and I love that from Kenny. You know, definitely calling out these pork chops. But listen, man, over 2 hours. Do you know what I mean? This has been absolutely brilliant, man. Time has flown.
Oh,
Um,
I've definitely enjoyed myself, and
same.
it's, as I said before, it's good to it's good to have a chat and talk about football because, you know, you think about it, all we're going to be able to talk about really and truly, if people are still doing podcasts,
Mm,
is transfer speculation.
yeah,
You know what I mean? But if we do get a few players over the line, that make the sort of potential podcast a lot easier to do. But
yeah,
I
yeah.
tell you one thing, right? It's a hard slog to do a podcast without any football to talk about.
Very hard, very, very hard, very hard. And if you find yourself basically doing the same, you know, saying the same things over and
Hey,
over again as well.
you,
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
you day, you still got to work, you still got to feed yourself. It's a full-time job.
It's a full-time
And you
job,
don't
bro.
necessarily have to just talk about Arsenal. There is
No,
the Club Championships, and it is on Channel 5 terrestrial TV to talk about. And
no,
all the big clubs in the World Club Champions are taking it seriously.
mhm, mhm, mhm. Absolutely. And me and Shane, we're gonna probably do a couple of watch-alongs for the Club World Cup as well. And yeah, and just like you said, you know, there's other things to talk about. I do a show called The Intervention where I just let subscribers and everyone come on and just, you know, get whatever off their chest, like a call-in show. So yeah, there's gonna be plenty of content coming. Kenny, it's been an absolute blast. You are always welcome over here.
Thank you
Um,
very much.
I would love to definitely have you on again. And we will definitely be talking. Anything you got coming up, mate? Anything we got to, you know, any
Well,
other
I'm actually working with Terrence's son in about at 4 o'clock.
Aaron, yeah, big up,
Yeah,
man. Big up.
so and then obviously I'm watching the Champions League final. You know,
Yeah,
I'm really
exactly.
looking forward to that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. No, it should be brilliant. Like I said, attack versus defense, so it should be wonderful. Big up, Aaron. Obviously, with
Don't rule out Inter because Inter have got a very well balanced attack.
yeah,
Don't Inter could come out of traps and take
they
everyone
could.
by surprise. They've got the players to do it.
They could. I back Inter to win. I think it will be 1-0 or 2-1 Inter.
You
So,
know, Inter, to be honest, from the early on in the group stages, the favourites for the Champions League was either Liverpool or Inter. To
mm,
be honest,
and the moment Arsenal got past Real Madrid, I said Inter are the dark horse, and here they are in the.
no one really wants to play them. You bring up Barcelona who are having a go. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah, absolutely. But great. Listen, like I said, this has been Under the Lens. We've had an absolute blast. This is the legend Kenny Ken. It's Kenny Ken 1972 on Instagram. Make sure you go over and follow. Make sure you're going to follow the geezer. Arsenal talks. Aaron talks Arsenal. Kenny will be on with him at 4. Right now, we're going to redirect to Shane Gooner, my bro. He's got the I think it's called the Weekend Roast. So
Mm.
catch some top gooners getting cooked over there. It's been an absolute pleasure, Kenny, man. And everyone, peace and love, man. We are out, people. We are out.